Good morning, my friends. The friend here, and today I've got yet another special Talent Overexplained video. This time we're going over Alexei Stukov, and I am joined by a very special guest. Please give a round of applause for Mr. Protesilaus.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, friend.
It's a great pleasure. I had to bring down the only person on the server that plays Stukov to a really high level, and honestly, I'm scared of you, Stukov. When you're playing him, I feel like I can't play the game. It's insane.
You're way much too kind. Thank you so much to be interviewed by a top 10 grandmaster is I guess is telling me that I'm doing something right. So thank you very much.
No, Chief. I promise you, I'm not that good. So, I now we're doing Stukov here because he's honestly a very unique character. I'm not gonna lie. He uses a weird mechanic where he spreads viruses to enemies and your teammates, and uses like a lot more disruption. Like he's not your typical healer. He's got so much CC out of the wazoo, it's kind of crazy. He just brings a lot of utility to the team in other types of ways. And I feel like Protesilaus here is the best candidate for it because he likes these unorthodox healers, the ones that aren't really heal bots. He likes Ana, he likes Tyrande, he likes Karazim from some reason, and he loves Stukov. And I feel like your brain is just better wired to it. Like, not only do you have the talent, but you have the practice playing these characters that focus more on utility and disruption on the enemy team rather than focusing on your own team. And I feel like it really shines when you play Stukov.
Oh well, thank you so much. Yeah, I do feel like I do enjoy. I've been a healer main for as long as this game's been out, and I
Mm-hmm.
definitely enjoy kind of off meta healers more. People don't know how to play against them as much since they're not as popular,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just kind of a more interesting play style. You're right. So yeah, I definitely enjoy myself with Stukov.
I totally agree. Would you? How long have you been playing Stukov? Just for a
Oh
frame of
God.
reference.
So yeah, I guess when we do these videos, kind of why should you pay attention to my thoughts on Stukov? I'm definitely not the best Stukov out there. I'm not that vain to say that. I have played this game probably since the beta. I will say that I probably have more than 10,000 hours logged at this point in time. So
Mm-hmm.
technically, quote unquote, an expert. Stukov is my most played healer, and as I mentioned, I am a healer main.
Mm-hmm.
I guess my claim to fame is that from like 2023, 2025, I was in the top 10 on Heroes Profile leaderboards with Stukov, with the highest I think I've ever achieved was #1 in NA, #3 worldwide. And
That's
again,
good.
this is quick match. This is not a Storm League. So please, this is kind of just me hoping to lend some credibility to what I'm saying, and again, I'm not claiming I'm the #1 stew you'll ever play against. Probably better than average. And like I said, I truly enjoy the hero, and well, I love the opportunity to actually talk about it.
The words of a humble man and an outstanding character. But I will say, I pluck you out not because you are good. Trust me, you are good. There's also like no Stukov players, so you are my only voice of reason.
Yeah, you're the best of what I have access to. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you.
Exactly. So this is why we have Protesilaus here today. Okay, so enough of that. Let's go over the abilities, and then we're going to go over the talents, and then we're going to see how that goes. So, um, I think we're going to leave Stukov's trait a little bit later. I think we're going to go over his basic abilities first. So let's talk about healing pathogen first, his Q. Stukov has a relatively awkward heal. He throws out a virus, it goes onto an allied hero, and then after a small delay, it will spread to a nearby allied hero, and this can propagate throughout the whole team. The heal is moderate, it's 222 health for a 10-second cooldown on a 40 mana cost, which is honestly not very good. Like, Anduin does a 280 heal for 4 seconds, so the throughput is really bad, but its overall coverage is pretty good if you manage to spread it throughout the whole team. It's kind of an awkward ability. Protestus, how do you spread this thing?
Yeah, so I guess any person that's probably been playing Stukov for a while will tell you that Alt Q is your best friend for healing. You really can't pretend to know what your teammates will do, even with people
Mm-hmm.
you've played quite a lot with. You really, when you're trying to heal and you're trying to heal your team, 99.9% of the time, just hit Alt Q, put it on yourself, and spread it to your team. You can control where you're going. You can kind of just make sure that everybody that needs it gets it. You can call your friends over to you if you're on comms.
Mhm.
But very frequently, I will see people that are kind of new on Stukov is that they throw the healing pathogen at their tank. Their tank didn't realize that's what's happening. They jump in for an engage, and now you're basically nerfing your heal from the entire team to just your tank.
Huge.
Yeah, and the only time you really should be putting it on someone else is it's a critical situation. So someone's getting dove, they're about to die. You throw the Q out to them and immediately hit trade for that with that extra heal.
Mm-hmm. It's a
And
really good
I guess
point.
and one more thing I'll say, I guess Stukov. Now that we're talking about Q, but a lot of Stukov is really just about timing. So as you mentioned, it is kind of an awkward heal, and it's got a long cooldown, but it's also, it heals over 4.5 seconds. So whenever you are healing, you kind of want to be using, if you're trying to maximize the use of your trait, you really want to be alt queuing onto yourself and almost immediately looking for a weighted postural target to hit your weighted postural on, because that means you'll get the maximum of your healing and the maximum of enemy slowing when you pop their trait. So your kind of rotation should frequently be alt Q, start spreading to your teammates, and within like a second, you should try to apply a weighted postural to at least one or two enemies.
Really good rhythm. I like that tip. That point you made about the tank and where they jump in is actually a really, really important factor, because Stukov, unlike any other healer where they usually have 2 or 3 healing sources, Stukov literally has only healing pathogen. If your tank jumps in and he has the only pathogen on, you cannot heal or affect the rest of your team. At that point, you are forced to hopefully CC the enemies to save your teammates. So you have to be very careful when you spread it to a allied hero first. So like you say, the tip of making sure you have it and then spreading it around is substantially more important to avoid that kind of dangerous situation.
Yes, exactly.
What else? And yeah, it's kind of a simple ability, all things considered, but you really gotta watch out for the high cooldown and accidentally not spreading it to somebody that's gonna jump away. Another thing is, if Stukov is on your team, pay attention to like the green glow / radiation that's giving off, because that means you have the healing pathogen. As the Stukov player, it's very obvious who has it because you have a big green, like I don't know, plus sign that's above a person's head, so you know they have the healing. But your teammates don't see that; they only see the green glowing. So it's very easy for them to miss out on it. So if you have a Stukov on your team, pay attention to it and make sure you go back and hug a teammate to have it spread out before you do something. I feel like you gotta work with the Stukov to make him more effective.
Comms help a lot for this healer.
Yes.
And it's a cost. It is a cost for the most part, but at times it can be a benefit. So if you're way out of range of somebody getting ganked, and you can throw a heal onto a very competent tank who then jumps in and gets close to the person getting ganked, the pathogen can actually path to the person getting ganked. You can pop trait, and you can definitely get some nice saves with that.
Yeah,
And when we go into the talents, I can kind of there are a couple of talents that even further increase the chance of this gank target actually surviving.
Man, that actually sounds really cool. But like you say, you need comps for that. That is never gonna happen in quick match.
Yeah, that's advanced. That's advanced. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh goodness me. Aside from that, any last thoughts for healing pathogen? It kind of needs synergy between your other abilities, so we'll just move on to those in just a bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Weighted pustule. This is Stukov's primary offensive ability, where you hurl a little larva, little thing. It's a tiny hitbox in a straight line, and it will go through every enemy hero hit. And when it tags them, it deals a tiny bit of damage and starts slowing them. And then the slow intensifies over the next 3 seconds, up to 50%. And it also just does a little bit more damage. This is one of the rare slows in the game that actually accelerate rather than decay. Most slows in this game are either flat or they start winding down. But this is one of the few ones that get stronger over time, which is very strange. The slow is very respectable, and any enemy that is being hurled on by your team, if they get slowed by this, they really feel the pain. Tell me your thoughts on using this ability, Mr. Protesilaus.
Yeah, so yeah, the W, it's a little tricky to land. It is a slow moving, like you said, projectile. Usually you land it either because you really kind of led correctly and guessed, or is a follow of CC. But it can be pretty deadly. So I guess anyone that's played a fair amount of HotS and played against Rhaegar, for example, when he gets that level 16 slowing totem and slams it down,
Oh
people
yeah.
people really feel that 90% slow, right? Like it feels almost like it's not quite a stun. You can still press your buttons, but you're like, man, this really sets up some gross follow-ups from your teammates with skill shots.
Mhm.
And this Stukov W is kind of the same way. So my tips here are the slow does increase over time. So really to get the maximum value out of the slow, it's kind of the same way that you get maximum value out of your healing pathogen. The healing pathogens heals over time, the slow slows over time, and towards the very end of both the healing pathogen and the slow is really when you want to activate your trait, because that's what really kind of gets you that gross slowdown that allows your team to catch up or heal the target. So you usually don't want to, as soon as you land the slowing pathogen on someone or the weighted postule, to be like, hey, now it's time to hit the trait. You usually kind of want to keep that little purple timer in your vision, and you see it increase to almost being done. So they are slow to basically almost 50%. Then you hit your trait, and that's another 70% slow, I believe, for a second and a half or something, which really, I don't know, kind of seals fate quite
Yeah.
frequently. And
5
again,
seconds
I
of
won't get into
slowing.
the talents here, but
Mhm.
you really want to wait it out until the end. The only time I would say you just immediately pop trait is if you're dealing with highly mobile assassins
Mhm.
and they're trying to get away. So at those times, as soon as that weighted partial connects, you could pop that trait to try to get your team to actually collapse and kill them.
Mhm.
Um,
Abs-
I will say one more thing here. A lot of I'm guilty of this as well, and I'm guilty of this against players that aren't as punishing or good, but good teams will punish you for poor positioning. You are a healer with no
Big
mobility.
time.
So if you're against an equally skilled team or even a better skilled team than you, do not be out there in the front row trying to land those weighted postules, because if you're in range of a skill tank, they're in range of you and they will punish you. You will die.
Mhm.
I know it feels good to land the W's, but just kind of remind yourself that landing a slow is not how you win the game. Staying alive as a healer is really what you should be prioritizing.
Absolutely true. Uh, I will say, I tend to forget my responsibilities as a healer, as Stukov, and I completely forget I can heal the team as I'm too busy trying to get close enough to press W on the enemy team, and I die very frequently because of that. You're absolutely right. Stukov demands perfect positioning, and it's very strange positioning too. He's a melee character who, by the way, has the strongest hitting basic attack in the
Yeah.
game, and
Yeah.
you should definitely make use of it. But you gotta remember that you
One of
still need. Go ahead. I'll let you take the floor.
one of the best feeling auto attacks too. So I definitely feel you on that.
Yes.
People that have dabbled in Stukov know how good it feels to get an AA kill
Schmuck.
on a squishy assassin. But yeah, that's I would say with the AA as well. Early on, I think Stukov can even do some one-on-one blow trading with
Mm-hmm.
some assassins and come out on top. And it feels good. You land that weighted postule, and it's some squishy that's
Mm-hmm.
ranged. You get the slow off, you run up to them, and you smack them for a kill. Feels amazing. And I would say that actually early on, especially if you're using reactive ballista spores, and we'll get to the talents later. This is not a bad strategy. Early
Mm-hmm.
on, you can kind of weave in, get some kills, get out. But as the game progresses and assassins scale quite a bit with their talents,
Mm-hmm.
you fall off. So those
Mm-hmm.
one-on-one encounters that you used to be able to win level 1, level 4, are no longer in your favor. And
Mm-hmm.
not to mention the death timers become significant, and your healer, not having a healer on the map, you're the only one that can heal.
Yeah.
So I would say, use those AAs, stutter step in, do your slowing murders early on, but once you start hitting like level 10 and above, really change your game plan a little bit. Start hanging
Mm-hmm.
back, start treating yourself as the priority target that you are. Like everybody wants you dead most of all. So just play with
Absolutely.
that knowledge. Yeah.
Very good points. He's Stukov's kind of similar to Rhaegar, where Early game, he's this healing. Well, he's a little bit of a heal, but he does a lot of damage, and this kind of can skew your perception. Well, it's true you should leverage that advantage, but then you must remember to reel it back in once enemy team gets access to new tools, crowd control, initiation, time to kill shortens tremendously, and because of that, you need to start playing carefully once again, and you reserve your auto attack just in case some assassin dives the back line and they're exposed to you, you might as well give them a little bit of a love tap. But if the whole enemy team is engaging upon you, you need to get out of their stat.
Exactly. That is exactly correct.
Yes.
The time to kill point is one that is especially well made. You really got to pay attention that, early on in the game, it takes a while to kill a tank. Late level 20 on, like tanks melt pretty quickly too, and that's a tank. You're Stukov. Yeah. So great point.
Very good point. Also, that strategy of you bonking on somebody, with your weighted postulate, is very true. We're going to talk about the trait now, but it's effectively a 5-second extreme slow. That thing is very debilitating. And speaking of trait, this is an active ability. Unlike other healers, you have to have a extra finger for biokill switch. Activates to immediately detonate all of your healing pathogens and weighted postulates. In the case of the healing, it stops it short, but gives it a huge burst of healing. And then for the weighted postulates, it stops it short, gives them a huge slow, and does a little bit more damage for them. And also, no, that's basically it, really. It's a 16-second cooldown. It's free to cast, so use it use it moderately, but there's definitely opportunities where if you see something big, you should absolutely let it rip. Give me your biokill switch tips.
Okay. Well, first of all, I would rebind biokill switch. That's just my personal opinion. I have it on space. It is something that you need to have very quick access to. I know a lot of people have very strong feelings about this. I knew this was going to be a heated topic, but whatever key it is, you just need to have very immediate access to it. I always felt D was kind of awkward. You have to take a finger off one of your ability buttons, and like it slows down your reaction time. Trait needs to be something you can press like almost immediately. I would say a lot of people kind of tend to not hit trait as frequently, always kind of saving it. Make sure that 16 seconds is a while, but it's not forever. And having your team completely topped off, they kind of have a different mental attitude at that point in time. Somebody's running around with half health, they're not going to be playing as comfortably as if they're running around with full health. And that trait heal is pretty substantial. And again, especially if you take level 4 talent, which I always take, which I should probably know it by name at this point in time. But when the vigorous reuptake, when you heal 3 or more heroes with your trait, it heals for 30% more. So a significant heal is even more significant. So I guess pop it when when you feel like your team's pretty low, when they need it. It feels great to get those incredible slows and incredible kills, but again, remind yourself every now and then that you are a healer and you're the only source of healing for your team. So there are other forms of CC hopefully on your team, but you're the only healer. Other than that, I would say when we go into builds, there's a kind of a trait-centered build that I feel, speaking of better Stukovs, a lot of the better Stukovs than I do take. It's an excellent build. It's just not my brand of Stukov, but I can still probably comment on it once we get into the talent section.
Absolutely. For biokill switch, you made the point you want to spread your healing first. You wait a second, and then you send out the W for maximum value. Ideally, you pop it, and everything gets biokilled. Let's say there's not a situation where you can't press heal. You can't heal the team, and you can't slow the enemy team at the same time, and you have to make a decision like right away. Which do you prioritize? Do you prioritize the slowing or the bigger healing?
Good question. So I guess it depends as a cheap cop out, but I would say that you always do Alt Q. Like again, I think 95% of cases you Alt Q to start the healing, and then you throw out a weighted postural. And at that point in time, you have to kind of make a decision. You're like, okay, so did I get enough enemies with a weighted postural? If I did, maybe popping trait immediately is worth it because that 70% slow, and even though you're not going to get the maximum healing from your healing pathogen, it will allow your team to safely disengage. If you didn't get a lot of enemies, or most of them are still chasing down, it could be worth to let that heal over time keep ticking and keep observing the people that are about to be killed. So if it's someone that's last in your group and they're catching up to them, try to wait to pop that heal until the very last second when you're thinking that they're about to die, because technically you're getting more healing out of it.
True.
Almost always, right? Almost always, you just all queue, you spread it to your team, you immediately throw it at W, and your absolutely optimum Stukov play means that as your alt queue, so as the healing pathogen is about to expire on you in the very last tick, that's when you activate the trait. That's what makes it kind of easier to keep an eye out, right? Because it's hard to look at all your teammates running around and what your healing pathogen is doing to them, but you know that if you spread the healing pathogen to you, you know that it's going to run out on you first.
Got
and
you.
if you've taken quite a few hits, as a melee healer could, then you really want to get that maximum heal as well. So alt Q, throw out a weighted pathogen, weighted pustule. There we go.
It's a very weird,
and
weird
make
name.
sure, and make sure that your healing pathogen spread to at least 3 of your allies. Like Stukov really loves playing with 2 other people. That's a lot. That's what makes him kind of awkward and weird. If you're solo queuing as healer, you kind of hate yourself. If you're solo queuing as Stukov, you super hate yourself because you really, I can't stress this enough. The reason that I think I, ever got anywhere towards the top of the leaderboards, it's because I stood on the shoulders of giants. I was lucky enough to play with a phenomenal tank, some phenomenal assassins. And honestly, the time you really want to pick Stu is when you have one really good tank for initiation and one really good assassin. Like if you can find a group of just 2 buddies that you can trust in, feel comfortable picking Stu almost all the time. I know that's a tall order in this game. Solo queue can be pretty rough, but I assure you, your joy in playing Stukov will skyrocket if you have a tank that knows how to engage and an assassin that knows how to follow up.
I really like that analysis. Tangential thoughts, because I was going to get to it eventually. I wasn't sure when, but since you brought it up, what kind of tank and what kind of assassin would work with Stukov? What's your favorites for those?
Well, I have definite answers to this. For the tank, a lot of people actually love Varian. And Varian's great. Varian's an awesome tank. You never hate a tank that can peel as with a point and click. Has such a good engage, has good damage. But honestly, because of the Stukov that I love playing is the silent Stukov, and I guess we'll get to that later. But you really want the tanks that can engage on several people at the same time. So when I think absolute best, Blaze, hands down the best tank to go with Stukov because so much CC and the slow really keeps people in the silence. Blaze is by far the best. Follow closely by May, and after that you got Joe, Arthas, Anubarak. So people that can kind of clump the enemy team together or slow multiple people are really your best friends.
Got you.
Tanks you don't want to play Stukov with are kind of divey single target tanks with either minimum CC. So
definitely
Tyrael's not great. Tyrael's not great at the top of that list, unfortunately. Although your Tyrael's savage, and I would have him on my team any single day, but maybe not as a main tank.
Yeah, no, on Stukov,
Murden's tough too because he kind of jumps in by himself and goes kind of far in, and your positioning gets compromised, and he just stuns one target. Chances are, so Murden's not a great tank. But yeah, I would say just really just beg for Blaze, May, or Joe. Those are always awesome.
Lovely tank options. I like those. How about assassins? Do you feel like you want more reliable DPS like say Vala or Tychus, or say something more bursty like Jhin or Kael'thas?
With assassins, it's a little bit harder. I wouldn't say there's a single right option. Mages are probably pretty good because of the silence that gets followed up. It's less, you want more burst and maybe less consistent damage. But honestly, I've again been lucky enough to have some stellar assassins play on my teams. I have no comment as to their gameplay other than it's amazing and great.
Hell
I don't
yeah.
want to call you know who they are. I don't want to call out names, not to offend anybody else, but I've again been exceptionally lucky with the teammates I've had. They've made my Stukov play quite enjoyable, and I definitely feel that when every now and then I feel masochistic enough to solo queue a Stuk.
I love it. You are saving the names of your friends that you're about to admire, which is very impressive. Okay, so we'll get back to that assassin question later. I might have some ideas for it. Let's talk about Stukov's final basic ability, which is Lurking Arm. Stukov, after a lengthy windup, he drops a puddle on the ground that silences enemy heroes and deals a lot of damage to them. Does half damage to non-heroes, but it silences them so long as they're on it, and it can be channeled indefinitely. The range is good, mana cost is somewhere there, but it's not too bad, and the cooldown is pretty acceptable. And yeah, if there is somebody locked down in a place, you can continuously silence them, which makes any sort of roots or stun or big slow in the form of your own W, where you can follow up on that and do lots of effects on them. What's your thoughts on Lurking Arm? This is definitely Stukov's most intricate ability, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, silence is the reason you play Stukov, right? Silence is the thing that makes him a menace, and annoying is all hell to play against.
Yeah.
Getting good at landing good silences is truly the reason you would pick this healer, because as you mentioned, it's not the healing output. You can pick better healers for that. The CC, you can pick better healers for that. He doesn't really have mobility, but his E is alone, I think, is a game-winning ability. And getting good at landing good silences is what makes a really great Stukov. First understand that it's a skill shot, and as you mentioned, the windup is not insignificant, because otherwise it'd be kind of cheap. It's just because of how powerful it can be in team fights, right? So get comfortable with putting the silence where people will be. This is where it comes really into play to have an awesome tank, because if you trust your tank engages, you can just assume that they're going to land them. You don't have to wait for Joe to finish her thing or Blaze to finish the stun. You're like, I know that so and so is going to land on two people. I'm just going to put the silence where he's going to end up, and it's gonna take 2 to 3 of the enemy team members out of the fight. As you already mentioned, the weighted postural on heroes before landing the silence can be huge. That's ideally what you would want to do. It doesn't always happen. Good players will dodge your weighted posturals. But if you can get the weighted postural and land the silence, know that you can also trigger trait while still maintaining the channeling for the silence. So get the W, start silencing, and as they're trying to walk out of the silence, since they can't jump out, no abilities are there, you pop the trait to slow them even further. So that's
nice.
Kind of pretty huge, yeah.
I like it.
It's also I'll mention it's also self-root. It's kind of important to mention that, right? Just all you white main players out there. Also, it's you're a healer. People want you dead more than anyone else. You will be focused. So some mental algebra is frequently kind of in order when you're silencing people, right? Is it worth the silence to do the self-root? So if you have someone like Genji or Zera on the other team hunting you, sometimes it is. Sometimes if your tank can land a stun on 2 to 3 people, and you land that silence even with full knowledge that Zera is about to ruin your day or even kill you, the silence might be worth it. So, in the end of the day, if 2 to 3 of the enemy team members die and you die, it might be a worthwhile trade.
I really like that analysis. The self-root is...
And one more thing.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, sorry, I do have one more thing for silence. And if you love stealing camps, Stukov is your boy, because he is hands down the best healer for stealing camps. Because when you have that gross camp fight on the enemy camp and they're trying to jostle a position for it, you land a silence on the camp. It's not even landing it. You just basically put the silence on there, and their choice is either to fight without their abilities and try to capture that camp or get off of it. So he's by far the best. Maybe Brightwing with his teleport in, but I think Stukov is really up there for camp
Stukov's extremely oppressive when there's any form of mercenary capture points that you have to fight over. Yeah, that like you say, silence, no abilities, and you're fighting on it, plus big damage. This thing does very impressive damage per second too. It's very nasty.
Exactly. Exactly.
Where was my train of thought going? Oh yeah, a good point about the self-rooting aspect. So it really does open you up. It makes you very vulnerable, so you have to watch out for that. But if you drop it on whatever the tank engages, usually that diverts the enemy's attention away from Stukov, unless there is a Zeratul per se that doesn't really care about what happens to his team. He's got eyes only for you. The silence is absolutely massive. It just wins you the fight there. How often do you say you got really big engage going on? How often do you have time for your W? Because you can activate the traits and then mega slow them for a big lurking arm. Would you press would you press E right away, or would you press W and then try to make the E more devastating afterwards? Because it's a
Yeah.
little bit of a trade-off.
So yeah, it's difficult. And again, you kind of have to see who you're playing against. But I'm going to assume that this entire kind of interview that we're playing against people that are just as good as you or better even, instead
Hmm.
of new players. New
Yeah,
players, you can do whatever the heck you want to.
my
Yeah,
philosophy is if it works at a high level, you can
it'll work.
it forces good habits, and the good habits can
Exactly.
cascade down into a lower level where it's even better because you know how to play the game correctly, so to say.
Exactly. Exactly. So yeah, I would say, especially when you get the range on 13, when you're playing against good players, not you will not be very frequently faced with a situation where you can land the W before hitting your E.
Mm-hmm.
Usually that happens when the enemy team is running away. They don't really have any place to dodge. Then sure, by all means, land it. But if this is kind of a fresh engage, both teams coming from 100 HP, and
Mm-hmm.
your tank just engaged into them, I think given the windup on E, it's more important to just get that E out there, the silence out there, instead of trying to, be fancy, run
Mm-hmm.
into range to make sure your slow moving W can jump on people. Because you really, no matter mobility, not mobility, that's the power of silence, right? Like if
Mm-hmm.
your tank stuns two people, you put silence under them, they have to walk out.
Mm-hmm.
That's why Blaze is so amazing, right? Like you don't have to have a weighted posture. If Blaze did a good job of stunning and immediately putting down an oil spill that's not ignited, they are in a silence with a 50% slow, taking damage, not being able to use their buttons.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say prioritize landing that silence. If you've gotten good, or if the enemy's crap at positioning, then start doing your W's, your weighted postules before the silences.
Mm-hmm. Got you. Really good advice. That was something I was struggling because there's a point in the game where I don't know. I feel like I get too many decisions I can make, and then I completely fumble the ball as Stukov. Most of it has to come down to how I use my E, and that's a really good way of approaching it. And hey, you have your W ready to go, just in case you have to get up and go.
Yeah.
I like it. Any last words about Lurking Arm? We're about to go into the heroics.
I would say that if you are playing Silent Stukov and it doesn't feel super great, just make sure that you fully commit with your talents, because I
Mm-hmm.
think really not picking any of the silence talents when you're playing Silent Stukov makes a huge difference.
Got
And
you.
again, we'll talk about the silence a little bit more, I think, later on. But just Silent Stukov means Silent Stukov, so don't split
Mm-hmm.
your talents with other things. Really, kind of pull full credibility into that E.
Good analysis. Sometimes there's some builds that do not permit any flexibility, and you must give it that respect if you commit. So, yeah, noted. Let's talk about flailing swipe. Swipe 3 times, each swipe getting bigger, and then you knock back everything away from you. Solid. 60-second cooldown. Not bad at all. Your thoughts?
Yeah. With ults, I have strong opinions here. I'm flexible with a lot of his builds, and obviously, you look at Heroes Profile leaderboards. My build is not the best in the world, so I should be. But I will say that I have strong opinions on his ults. His ults are not
Mm-hmm.
amazing, and that's because the silence is so oppressive. It'd
Yeah.
be gross if he also had like a game-changing ult, like like Light Bomb or the White Maiden State Healing. But I will say that I think Flailing Swipe is his only ult.
Mm-hmm.
The Shove. Even I know it's hilarious. I know it's super funny if you get behind someone and position kind of crazy on Towers of Doom and then shove them into your, your towers to take all
Mhm.
this damage. I know it looks flashy, but trust me, we're working here with the assumption that you're playing against a good competitive team. You'll die for it. Even the
Mhm.
trade of a healer for, let's say you actually got the person for whoever that is usually not the worst trade. If the healer's the first one to go, very frequently that
Mhm.
fight is not going to go your way.
Very true.
So flailing swipe, I think, is the call 98% of the time. It's definitely nowhere near as good as gust for disengaging, but
Mhm.
it is your sole ability to really hard disengage. Things are not going well. Flailing swipe and start running the other direction.
Mhm.
So
I like it. Honestly,
it's
it's
your
so
budget
true.
gust.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
about to say that. You took the words out of my mouth. I will say, like Stukov's ultimates are kind. It's interesting because he's got the same kind of thing, but flavored differently. And obviously, there's AOE, and there's the single target, and it's made two. But flailing swipe is so much better than massive shove, and I feel like if I press flailing swipe, it usually works. If I press massive shove, usually it doesn't work, and that's why flailing swipe just works. But also, like, there's the thing about walls. Swipe goes over walls, and even if an enemy connects with it, it still kind of flails them, alongside with it. Like they slide on it, but at least it's in a awayish motion, and it usually does enough to get your team out of a bad situation.
Yeah. Not to mention, you have your self root on shove as well, which is not something you want to be doing as a healer.
Oh yeah.
You want to stay mobile. With lurking arm, at least you're silencing people. You're really disrupting the enemy team. Here, best case scenario, like I guess you shoved a choke all across the map, and that feels awesome. That feels
Mm-hmm.
really really great. And maybe that's the best case scenario I can see
Yeah,
as the
I think
argument
so.
for massive shove is shoving a cho and very very far, but if you miss, it's a costly miss. If you hit and uh, he's being shut for a while, it can be a costly hit because people can still burst you down as you're just standing there. So
True.
yeah, I really think flailing swipe is should be your pick 90% of the time.
Mm-hmm. Um, is there ever a time you flailing swipe like mid combat? It's very obvious when the team is trying to run away, and you do the big Superman save. But mid fight, it's kind of tricky using it because it will absolutely ruin the dynamics of the fight. Like everything just gets shoved away, and sometimes that saves the team. Is there a time you
Yeah.
would use it mid fight?
Yeah, it can be, you can definitely use it to save enemy players who are being targeted. You can screw up skill shots for your own teammates as well. So I really try to hold it as kind of a most of the time as a disengage tool.
Mm-hmm.
Very infrequently, if you're getting really confident on Stukov, and chances are if you are, you're probably not watching this. You can probably flailing swipe people into like a little corner. They're trying to get away, and you're like, nope, stay
Hmm.
here in this little corner between walls. Like I will just slap you into it so my team can catch up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I really don't. I feel like more often than not, you're kind of screwing up everyone's things. So
Yeah.
it's more of a when you're running away, you definitely know this is the time to use it. Like this is a perfect great time to like, hey, let's disengage and let's get the heck out of here.
Big time. Man, every time I try to like come up with this scenario, it just doesn't happen because Gust is always on my mind, and it's so interesting how Gus does it because it's got a big slow, so even if you shove them, it's still very effective. It can be stopped short by the walls, or you can intentionally move aside and then like forcefully shove three people, but there's still one person on the front line that you now have an isolated opportunity to kill them. Flailing swipe just cannot do that. So you really need to hold on to flailing swipe as the we're out of here. And even if the team is doing well, you may not get to that point in the game. You might never press it. But yeah, it's better to have it ready than to use it and end up saving the enemy team. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the ults in Stukov again are they're not
Mm,
some amazing game changing ults. It's a
yeah,
silence that's really that kind of they really put a lot into that. Be like, hey, this hero can do this super annoying game altering thing. We really can be buffing the rest of his kit too much.
big time.
So
They have to, this is the ultimate Stukov experience. Like you got teammates you kind of hate, but you hate yourself even more. Like that is that not Alexei Stukov right there?
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. It's like, oh, I screwed it up for everyone. Like somebody almost landed an amazing grab or an amazing mosh, and I flailing
Hmm.
swiped the enemy team out of it. Like, what have I done? I'm so sorry.
I love it. Let's talk about massive shove. Theoretically speaking, this thing could be really good. Like it's a 20-second cooldown ultimate, which is one of the big upsides about it. Is you can just use it. You don't care if it goes bad or not. But if you connect with an enemy hero, it will keep shoving them back until it hits terrain. This could technically be an indefinite amount of time. It does leave you very vulnerable because you're channeling the shove away. So if another enemy is right next to you, easy hits on Stukov, but you get 50 armor to compensate, which is pretty nice. My big grievances with Massive Shove, obviously you use it to shove away a big target, but it's really bad when you're around the corner because there's some weird hitbox shenanigans. Like it doesn't go over a wall, and if the enemy hero hits like the side corner, it immediately stops. So they might just get like a tiny shove, like the world's most pathetic shove. And it feels bad, man. It feels bad.
It
But
feels bad.
if
I mean,
you
everyone's dreaming of those ideal scenarios where
mm,
you shove a Cho back to base or you shove a hammer way down lane. You know, those they feel nice, they feel good, but it's just again, any good player in HOTS will tell you that whenever you're looking at talents, you got to look at opportunity cost, right?
mm,
It's what you're not taking as well. You know, yes, I
absolutely.
can make arguments for when shove works and those niche combinations where it's awesome and amazing and you get a diva bomb out of here. They all happen, but like, what are you not taking because of it?
Mm,
And you're not taking your only kind of somewhat reliable disengage tool on a no mobility melee healer.
huge.
So
Absolutely.
really, I don't know. I guess take it when you want to have fun, when you're already kind of dumpstering the enemy team and you just want
Hmm.
to do some silly things. But really, if you're trying to have a good competitive game and you're in there to win, then
Hmm.
flailing swipe is your friend.
I will say, I was playing Arthas on Hanamura Temple and I was fighting Stukov, and he picked up massive shove. And I'm not gonna lie, he managed to hit me like every single time throughout the game, and I usually went flying for a long time. It's a big deal because I was diving the back line as Arthas. Getting shoved like that is a really big deal. But then he missed it. Well, more purposefully, I baited it out and then I dodged it because I saw he picked up the level 20. So I'm like, okay, I think I finally need to respect the massive shove. And then after that, after that, I won the game. Had he gone flailing swipe, I'm pretty sure he knocks me away once, and he does the job. You can't miss the flailing swipe. But let's do think about opportunities on when to use massive shove because Cho'Gall, Arthas, these like Singleton big heroes, it does affect them a big deal. Say you pick up
It does, yeah.
massive
Mhm.
shove. How do you aim this properly? Like I need pointers because obviously you want like a wide open engagement, but sometimes you just don't get the opportunity. How do you properly orient yourself compared to the enemy person you're about to shove so you can give a good shove, a good distance at least?
I don't. I miss. Maybe that's the other reason I don't pick massive shove is maybe I just can't hit it consistently enough, and that's why I don't feel like I pick it. I mean, yeah, as you mentioned, if you are picking it, you absolutely kind of are locked into the level 20 that puts that monstrous slow once they collide with the terrain on it.
Mm,
Um, it's obviously easier with the large hitboxes that are running directly at you with the star caveat of a garage that goes unstoppable as you're trying
yeah.
to hit them with it and just ruins your day.
Mm,
But again, like if you're really good at landing the ability, okay. But again,
mm,
what are you getting out of it versus flailing swipe?
mm,
If you're winning the game, it doesn't matter what you're picking, right? If you're
right.
just kind of dumpstering this team and they're not dodging your skill shots, yeah, go to town, have fun, enjoy. But
Hmm.
if this is a good team and they like bait out the massive shove, do a stutter step, or even let's say you land it and they have been waiting the other enemy players have been waiting for you to do that this entire time and they just collapse on you immediately and burst you down. I just don't think it's
Mm,
worth it.
me neither. Also, that point about shoving it backwards into your team, don't go for it. Seriously, don't. It
Yeah,
never.
seriously, no.
It's not worth it. It's not worth it.
It's
You
not a.
usually
It's not
die.
a. Yeah. It's not a tunnel. It's not a whatever tunnel win whatever Gus Falstad where
Mm,
it wins the game or a giant snowball. It's one
yeah.
hero. You still rooted yourself. You're literally in the enemy's team's face with no one else backing you up. Don't
Yep.
do that.
Unless, like, say there's a Genji that decided to jump behind you. In this case, when an enemy
Yes.
accidentally gets behind you, absolutely do shove them backwards. It's very effective, but never like do a play where you intentionally get behind the enemy's fort so you can shove them back. Unless you're there for a
Yes.
laugh, then absolutely go
Yes.
for it. But
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah,
Exactly.
I think that kind of concludes Massive Shove. It's a very awkward ability because of the terrain constrictions, the way they code the ability. It's not as good. It kind of feels similar to Valkyrie, but Valkyrie feels more reliable somehow. Massive Shove does not. So Flailing Swap is usually your pick.
Amen.
Amen. Alrighty. That is Stukov's ability kit. A very versatile kit. Some healing with AoE and burst. You got slowing out of wazoo. You got silences. You got knockbacks. And a hard-hitting attack. Stukov is a very interesting character because he's got like the extremes of everything you can ask for, like highest burst healing, highest AoE healing, highest slowing, highest silences, and a lot of Stukov's difficulty is knowing exactly when to focus on a specific part of him. Because when you're being the most extreme at something, it comes at the expense of something else, and you have to watch out for that.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot of timing. It's a lot of positioning. And it's just being dependent on your team. I can't stress this
Mm-hmm.
enough. Like you can be an incredible Stukov, but unlike other healers that can kind of make plays by themselves in a way, like a healer
Mm-hmm.
should always follow up, right? A healer should always kind
Yeah,
of be, I'm reacting to the enemy and reacting to what my team's doing, unless oh, I got to do these engages. But you
good
do have a
practice.
couple of healers. Yeah, you have a couple of healers that can kind of make plays. Think of an Anna sleep, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
catch a target out of position, they're slept, your tank can walk up and ruin their day. Think of a Tyrande owl going through a bush.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy team thought they were going to gank you. All of a sudden, you have full vision on them. Half of them are slowed with reduced damage, and you're engaging into them.
Mm-hmm.
These healers can kind of quote unquote initiate or make plays. If you're
Mm-hmm.
playing Stukov correctly, you are a follow up machine. Uh,
Yes.
you're just following up. You're holding your buttons. You're not just throwing out silences and W's because they're off of cooldown. You are waiting for your tank to make some good engage, waiting for an assassin to bait people into bad positioning, and you're punishing them by following up. And I can't
Mm-hmm.
stress this enough. And it doesn't feel great. You don't have that like, oh my god. I mean, sometimes your stats are amazing in the end, and people are like, wow, how do you have 10 kills? I'm like, because my tank is good. The answer
Yeah.
is not because I landed silences, it's because my tank is good.
Very true.
Yeah,
Stukov, like you have to keep your eyes open compared to other healers. Like you can never fall asleep on the keyboard just healing all day. You need to actively look at what your tank is doing so that you can do exactly what they're trying to do.
exactly. Exactly.
Hmm. And with that, I think that concludes his abilities. I think it's finally time to move over into the town section. And now we're going to level 1. Beginning with level 1, we are looking at Feated Touch. Basic attacks now become ranged, and they slow enemies by 20%. You deal a little bit less damage, 35%, which is a big deal, but you can hit them from range, which is pretty cool. And it's a toggled ability, so if you want to be melee and smacking them big time, feel free to deactivate it and go to town. But, yeah, you have that possibility of being ranged, and it's a really good effect. But there's also another thing attached to this. This is a quest for your W. When you hit enemies with your W, you progress it, and when you complete it after hitting 15 enemy heroes, you remove the mana cost of your W and reduce its cooldown by half. So you just have a lot more pustules running about. What is your opinion on Feated Touch?
Uh, so honestly, I mean, the way you describe it, it sounds so amazing, but it is the talent I never pick.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's not because it's a bad talent, and some people can make amazing use of it, especially by staying in that, range mode. You can basically just keep the front line slowed almost the entire time, just poking at them. And 35% is a significant margin, but when you think about the hardest hitting auto attack out of the gate in the game, like
Mm-hmm.
it adds up. Like you can these are the Stukovs that have like the highest damage numbers in the beginning of the game, and you're like, what the heck is going on?
And
But
it's because
again,
of
I
his
just think
talent.
the opportunity. Yep, exactly. But I just think the opportunity cost is too great when you look
Yeah.
at the two other talents. So yeah, it's not a talent I pick.
Mhm.
And I think one more point I'll add here is if you take that quest, that 5-second no mana cost weighted postule just makes you into a I'm gonna spit this out every single time it's off of cooldown machine, and I think that's not a good habit. That's not what you want to be doing.
That's
Yeah,
actually kind of true because a lot of Stukov's he has a rhythm and flow where you need to time your abilities together for a big biokill value, and
exactly.
slamming your W every single opportunity does make a bad habit out of it. I will say I kind of like VT Touch. I like it more than you describe, but you are very true in amplifying like Stukov's secondary ability rather than his most impactful ability, which is his silence. You really feel the absence of a good character. Even though it's very fun in a very narrow dimension, you feel the lack of options later on in the game. It's an early game powerhouse, but this is something Stukov already is. He's a very strong early game powerhouse. And if you don't scale properly, you're going to have issues in later team fights.
Exactly. And both of the other level ones, I think the way that they synergize with his other talents is exponentially
Mm-hmm.
more than this one. So yeah,
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. I will leave Feet to Touch for later because I feel like if you pick this up, you need to pick up synergistic talents to make the payoff work. There's a few ways of doing it, but we'll leave it for now. Let's talk about Low Blow. Lurking Arm deals double damage against enemy heroes that are below half health. And not only that, the silence will persist on the ground 1 second after you stop channeling it, whether it's interrupted or you stop it because you wanted to stop it. Super strong talent. I will say this from me, this thing is disgusting. Low Blow is a very strong talent in damage. Like, if you follow up with your tank, you have enough damage with just your tank to kill a target, which is kind of crazy. Plus, that persistence effect is very useful. You may not think of it much, but when you see it in play, it matters a lot. Protesilaus, tell me,
yeah,
Low Blow energy.
huge talent. Huge talent. This is what yields you kills early on. You'll notice it. Just I guess play Silent Stukov or just Stukov by himself without this talent, and then with it. And
Mm-hmm.
when your tank engages and you hit that E underneath the target, ideally in the direction they're escaping, this is the talent that is the difference between them getting out annoyed or them dying. Um,
Mm-hmm.
the damage is here's a fun fact about Stukov. His DPS with low blow on a target on a hero that's below 50% is actually higher using the silence than his auto attack.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case without
Noted.
low blow.
Got you.
So yeah, so if if somebody's collapsing on you and you're just trying to get kind of a last kill and they're below 50%, the silence and can actually do more DPS. Now, granted, if your AA is off of cooldown and they're almost dead, that's the way you kill them. But the DPS is higher with the silence. And the
Got you.
extra 1 second is huge for things like disengages as you're trying to run away. You think
Mm-hmm.
1 second is not a long time, but if you kind of lead where the enemy team is chasing your team, you put that E down, and you can start immediately moving while the silence is still putting in work.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is an absolute must for Silence Build Stukov, in my opinion.
Absolutely. That disengaging tip is very prevalent because Stukov is unable to save a disengagement with his silence unless you do a very clutch timing on some ability. But if you stop it and you start running, the silence goes away. So there's no point for it to screen the escape. But Low Blow gives you that option, and you could really feel how important that is when you actually see it in combat.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah, very simple talent, straightforward. It enables Stukov with some future talents that really makes this completely overpowered. But yeah, Low Blow just it lubricates what Stukov wants to do in a very positive direction. It is something that it's a really strong payoff. It's just a good talent. It's just a good talent.
Yeah, I think it's a non-negotiable for Silence Build Stukov. You
Totally.
have to pick it.
Yeah, and like you described, I do agree with you. I think Silent Stukov is the best build for Stukov. So keep your eyes out for any talents that augment your E. So keep that in mind. And now, moving to reactive ballistospores. This is something. It is a new ability on your hotbar at a 75-second cooldown. Activate to instantly spread a W on all nearby enemy heroes. No aiming required. If they're next to you, they just get it, you know? And it resets the cooldown of your traits. So if it's on cooldown, yep, you got a second trait. And there's also a passive. If you're below half health, the timing, the refresh rate of your trait is doubled. So you have more traits in general with reactive ballista spores. I will say this is a infinitely fascinating talent that is too difficult for me to work out. So I need a professional to weigh in. Tell me, lay it down on me.
Well, far be it from professional. This is a mini ult. Honestly, reactive is another awesome talent, and this is I guess the second brand of Stukov that a lot of really good players, and those are much better than me, play, and I can definitely understand the value. People don't really expect this. When you think of that 70% slow from popping your trait as being crippling, think of that. So you have let's say you land a weighted postural on an unsuspecting target at level 1. This is just your first fight. You wait for it to almost run out. You hit your trait. They're slowed to 70% for, I think, a second and a half. You run up to them, and you activate your reactive ballista spores, which starts over another cycle of building up to 50% slow. Then you can again pop your trait on. This is just like I think of Blaze with his Pyromania as having almost a little tiny mini ult in the beginning of the game amazing for early fights. Such a great ability. I think this is a mini ult for early fights. So if you pick this, Stukov definitely wants to fight early. You can secure some crazy kills, like as long as you land a weighted postural on someone running away, and you have this open, you pop the trait. Run up to them, hit reactive ballista spores. You don't have to aim, and you can get it on them again. Two caveats I'll say to this ability is one, don't be married to landing a weighted postural before doing reactive ballista spores. The order can be kind of reversed. Yeah, you don't get another trait pop that way, but if it's a highly mobile target, and they're really good at dodging, you wait in a bush, you wait for a tracer to kind of run up close to you, and you not always can hit your W perfectly, or maybe your W is on cooldown. You hit the reactive first, and then you hit the trait, and then as the trait slow is expiring, you can still land another weighted postural on them. So the order can be reversed. Ideally, you want to do W trait reactive, but you can do reactive trait W. And one more thing, just like I kind of mentioned before, right? In the beginning, you can get away with some real grossness. With one-on-ones. This can win you one-on-ones. This can kind of slow half the enemy team as you run up to them, do some really gross stuff. But the whole portion of being in the enemy team and spreading the postules is a little bit scarier later on when time to kill is much shorter. So whereas you can get away with some craziness of I'm gonna pop this reactive in a bush and then get away early on. Don't compromise your positioning too much for reactive later on in the game. Be kind of be more judicial, be more kind of conservative with it.
Excellent analysis. I really like it. Is there how would you use the I don't know, I think I need to rephrase this question. How much would you value the biokill switch resetting? Would you heal somebody and then come back to reactivate it? Because like you say, it's a level 1 ultimate ability, and it really has a lot of impact on the fights. Say you toss out the healing, you burst it, and then you just reactivate it right away, say on one target. Would you look for one target or like multiple targets?
Well, I guess the being able to pop healing trait twice is pretty difficult. Not impossible, but very difficult without a level, I believe, 16 pops populi talent.
Yeah, the one that continuously spreads.
Yes, exactly. Because what happens when you pop your trait is that the healing pathogen kind of detonates, does the massive heal, but the hero no longer has a healing pathogen on them. So the only time this works without that level 16 is if the healing pathogen is spreading to a nearby hero, you pop the trait. Well, no, yeah, I don't think you can actually make it work without the level 16. So You'll need to really wait for level 16 synergy for reactive to do the double healing.
Got you.
Yeah, of the double healing that you can pull off. And I guess, yeah, when we get to 13 and 16, both the silence build and kind of the reactive starting build have insane synergies with level 13 talents and 16 as well. So I guess I'll have to wait for that to kind of cover that.
Fair enough. In this case, let's talk about enemy composition scenarios. When would you pick up any of these talents? Feat of Touch, Low Blow, or Reactive Ballista Spores? Is there something on the enemy team that makes you go, okay, I need this to deal with it?
Yeah, excellent question. And honestly, this is basically where you decide what type of Stukov you're playing. If you have a tank you trust, if the enemy team is not very highly mobile, highly divey, silence is the way to go. I want to play silence Stukov every single game if I can, if the enemy team lets me. Now, I used to say just silence Stukov no matter what. And recently, I had a game against G-Man's Illidan. Not sure if people remember the old greats. That man is an artiste on Illidan and a terrifying artiste at that. So when you have someone that's highly mobile, is very competent, and is coming for you, reactive is a must. It's not because I want to play reactive, but because I have to play reactive. Because silence Stukov is going to have a very, very hard time against highly mobile targets that your tank can't reliably engage on. Right? If they choose the engage and not you, you have to play reactive ballista spores.
I like it. Right there in the name, reactive ballista spores.
Exactly.
Send it
exactly.
But yeah, Low Blow for primary standard Stukov, reactive ballista spores, Feat of Touch if you want to have some fun. Let's go to level 4, I think. So, as Stukov, usually Stukov gets picked with the second healer because his healing is kind of subpar here and there, and really it's the massive amount of CC he brings. Level 4 kind of follows the same trajectory where we think about Stukov as a CC machine first, and then level 4 is actually when we start healing. One good spread. After your Q spreads to 3 heroes, you get a 2-second cooldown reduction on your Q right away, like it just gets rebaited, and you also restore 10 mana. Gives you, it's a simple talent that gives you more uptime on your healing. Say if you're fighting a lot of poke or sustain, you're able to continuously spread healing pathogen on your whole team. Just keep healing them and keep topping them off. What's your opinion on it?
I don't love it. I remember back when I was really trying to be a Stukov researcher, I did some excelling to kind of try to figure out what is the maximum healing you can really get from Stukov. And I think if you're playing one of two brands of Stukov, if you're playing the silence build or if you're playing the reactive ballista spore build, if you go targeted excision at 7, you are still going to be out healing using instead of one good spread using the reactive uptake, I believe, or what is it called? The one that increases your yeah. So I don't really love it, and not to mention I feel like a big part of Stukov is those huge trait heals and huge trait slows. So having an extra 30% on that, again, you just have to think of the opportunity cost, right? Like it's a nice talent in a vacuum, but I don't think it's worth giving up the other two.
I can subscribe to this opinion. I do like the talent more, but you're kind of right in that it's more like a feel-good talent that feels nice to have something continuously going on to make you think the talent is doing something, but in reality, it's not giving you the results that actually do matter, which is the burst healing, which is what Stukov is known for. Yeah, I do agree.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice to be able to, really get someone out of a sticky situation. Yeah, it takes a little bit more work, having to spread the healing pathogen to 3 people. But the extra 30% on such a giant heal it's very noticeable when you don't have it. It feels bad.
Absolutely. We might as well talk about vigorous reuptake since we've mentioned it so often, even before we got to the talents we were talking about it. Biokill Switch heals for 30% more when detonating 3 or more healing pathogens. So with one good spread, you get the effect when you just spread it to 3 heroes, period. This requires you to activate it. But even then, it's a pretty simple requirement. Stukov is frequently with his team, so getting the value off of this happens very frequently. And if you manage to do a 5-team wide 30% bonus, it's really big because the healing, I think, what's this? 435 health? Yeah. So level 1, that's 450 health. You are healing an extra 140 flats with 1 talent, which absolutely makes a difference. Times 5.
Yeah. It's huge. It's kind of why you need Stukov kind of to be on comms. You know, to really minus just spreading the pathogen is great, but once you get this level 4, whenever I play, I'm always like, I need 3 bodies. You know, like it's a 3-body problem, including yourself. So you need 2 extra people. That's why I kind of said ideal Stukov plays when you have an assassin and a tank you can trust. You kind of want to stay in a group of 3 to really get really make use of his abilities, and this is the perfect example of this talent right here.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. It always feels good when I pick up Vigorous reuptake. I don't really have any bad games with it, so I never feel bad taking it. If that is like my anecdotal experience from it.
Yeah, 100%. You notice it when it's not there. It really boosts your healing numbers.
Big time. I think we now go back to the last child, the biotic armor. Your healing pathogen is going to apply a passive 10 armor, physical armor, I should say, to a target while it's on them. And when you activate your traits for the big burst, this armor increases to 50 physical armor. Very strong. Obviously, there's a very obvious use case for it against physical damage dealers. Say your Illidan, your Raynor, your Vala, etc. Putting down 50 physical armor, especially when they're getting mauled on, makes a huge difference. Like, when you're fighting Stukov and there's a biotic armor, you're like, oh man, this sucks. When you're trying to kill them, which it definitely helps. But it's a very short duration, so you need to identify a good timing window on applying the armor as they're getting mauled on. How often do you pick up biotic armor?
This is one of those talents that's kind of incredible on paper, and if in an ideal world, this should be a pick very frequently, but we're not living in the real world. And here's the reason why. 50 armor is huge, right? Like fighting against gray mains, right-click Valas, hammers, that is an enormous amount of hit points that can be saved by popping your biotic kill switch and going in on physical attackers. However, the problem here is you need to be just communicating to your team the entire time. And whereas you should be doing that anyway, you can only have so much communication. So, your tank's trying to talk about engages, trying to call out plays, and you're like, oh, wait, I got biotic armor on you. It's just, it's an extra kind of extra noise in the voice channel that needs to happen. And whereas, again, people play psychologically differently based on how healed they are, right? Like you might not notice, well, maybe not you, like a newer player might not notice the fact that they have 50 armor, but they're definitely going to notice if they're completely topped off. So when you have a vigorous reuptake pop and, all of a sudden they're up to 70, 80% health, they're like, I can make plays, I can go in, I can fight. But if, they're sitting at 40, 30% health, and I pop biotic armor, and it's like, hey, you can still go in, you have physical armor, but like there's something in their brain that's like, wait, no, I should be backing at this point in time.
Yeah.
I shouldn't be fighting. I need to get out of here. So it's more of this talent. Maybe if they made it more obvious, maybe if like you have a giant shield on you as you're running around, you see it, like it would be better. But as it stands, I feel like it takes a lot more coordination and works a lot less consistently than just kind of topping your team off more with vigorous reuptake.
Fair enough. I do agree with you that it's kind of a more invisible effect than you. To us, it's obvious because we're the Stukov player and we're the one picking up the talent, but it's not very obvious. Like, I'm not gonna lie, specifically physical and specifically magical armor, for some reason I don't register them as often as like true full armor. Full armor is like obvious, like you see it at a glance, they're armored. But for some reason, like my brain doesn't like respect physical or spell armor specifically, and then I end up taking these engages. And it's absolutely not limited to like lower ranks. I see this throughout every single echelon of play, maybe with the exception of like the professional grandmasters, in tournaments that will clock it in, but. I don't see biotic armor there. When I see Stukov, I usually see Stukov Uther. So, that goes out the window.
Yeah, it's just harder to kind of it's harder to notice. It's a good talent. It's a great talent. If you can make it work, if you're playing with people consistently picking this,
Mhm.
they know maybe there's definitely an argument to be made for it, but it's just so much
Mhm.
more obvious when you're topped off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
big time. Well, I don't think you really need communication to apply the armor. I think like if you see somebody getting hit on, you just give them the cue and then give them the armor. It
Mhm.
works. This gives Stukov something that he doesn't technically have is a really strong single target healing. Obviously, like the rest of the team's going to get it, but he's not as good as saving a single target, with the exception of using his other abilities. This is a way for him to kind of apply it through a healing method, if that makes sense. Would you still do
Yes,
it if
correct.
there's like huge gray main Zul'jin, action going on, and your teammates, will feel like a lot of burst physical damage?
I don't know. I guess I'm a
Hmm.
victim of my own habits. Vigorous
Ah,
free uptake is just
yeah.
what I pick every single time, even with a lot of physical attack on the enemy team is just being able to heal people up from the
Hmm.
poke. Again, creates this kind of psychological aspect where I can play. Because if you take biotic armor, it's amazing at mitigating damage, but people feel the lack of healing after that.
Yeah,
Like it's
I agree.
substantial. This is where you get called out in queue and be like, oh, what is this healing? Your healing numbers are a joke. It's like, yeah, I guess I picked biotic armor to try to, not that you should play in a way to appease the trolls, but it's
Hmm.
just you, you really notice the the hit you take to your healing numbers when you take biotic armor.
That is true. At the end of the day, we're like analyzing a very hyper specific scenario in that it needs to be a short duration physical damage onslaught. And frankly, there's not very many opportunities for that. Whereas giving you just 30% more healing across the board, and whether it's against poke or against the hard engage, like it always happens. Like it's always there, and it always feels good too.
Yeah,
Mm. I
exactly.
think there's no more to say. Vigorous uptake, re-uptake. This is basically the talent to go to.
Yeah, just make sure. I mean, not much to say. Alt Q. Make sure you get it to two more people, at
Hmm.
least two more people, and pop and make sure you pop it before it runs out on you. If you're hurt, if you're not hurt at all, you could wait. You know, as then you basically look at who is the most hurt on your team. If you have the luxury and time to wait, and people aren't engaging and dying, you wait until the healing pathogen always runs out on the person that's hid the most, and you pop this to make sure
Hmm.
that at least three pathogens are present, right?
Totally.
Um, yep, not much more
I
to
like
say.
it. Alrighty, moving on to level 7. A few interesting options. The long pitch. Increase the range of your W by 50%, and when you detonate 2 or more push tools on the enemy heroes, you will cause your trait and the rest of your basic abilities to recharge twice as quickly for 4 seconds. Um, Long pitch has two parts. One, the extra range to it is a very nice boon to it. It makes it a lot better of an ability to use. However, detonating 2 or more weighted pustules is a kind of a difficult thing to pull off because it's a very narrow ability. It's slow moving. Hitting it on 2 heroes is a long shot. The bonus is very good in that you can do some crazy stuff with it. Activate all of your abilities, go crazy. But yeah, it's kind of an awkward thing because you're really banking on the unreliability of your W, and because of that, I think it's not as useful as your other options. How do you think?
100% agree. I mean, you basically covered it. Couldn't phrase it better myself. It is unlikely that you're going to get the two partials on people, even if you do. The cooldown for your basic abilities and your trait is in um, in my opinion, not as good as the cooldown you get from targeted excision, where you get a
Hmm.
much larger cooldown on your trait, and that's really the cooldown you care about more.
I see.
Also, it's just a really slow moving projectile. So this isn't, an anti-horror snipe where you can be like, oh, this guy's a screen away. Let me just hit him and kill him. It's again, like good players will kind of look out for it, and it's somewhat easy to dodge.
Hmm.
Not to mention, I guess like even if you do get the weighted postural on them and they're a screen away, and even if you have trait and you activate it, chances are the trait will run out before your team can catch up from the screen
Hmm.
away. So
That's
it's kind of
true.
like, yeah, you hit it, that's awesome, and you slowed them, but can your team actually capitalize on it? And more often than not, I find that that's not the case. So
Hmm.
this is not a talent I pick.
Very good way of putting it. Also, another thing I remembered. Even though like you get double cooldown refreshing on it, there's a thing with this in that you kind of sacrifice the Stukov. I got like three things to say about this. One, we say that you kind of need to time your abilities as Stukov. Just throwing out your abilities all willy nilly is really inefficient for Stukov compared to other type of healers. So um, there is some like a waste potential because you've got your abilities ready to go and you're not using the doubled recharge refresh rate because you need to wait for a good opportunity before it makes an impact. Just tossing it doesn't work. And two, there's another thing you have to watch out for is that what was I about to say? Continue for me, Protesilaus. I know you have
No,
a
absolutely,
telepathic
absolutely.
link.
Yeah, no, no, absolutely. You're saying the exact thing, right? Like your ideal rotation is to make sure you alt Q, you get the healing pathogen to your friends, and then you immediately W onto someone, and ideally you're popping your trait in a way that maximally heals your team while at the same time maximally slows the enemy team, right?
Mm-hmm,
If you're just throwing out long pitches, you all of a sudden, okay, so I hit someone. That means I
mm-hmm.
need to immediately start alt queuing. I'm not going to get the most out of it. I need to pop the weighted partially. It just really messes with your timing,
Yeah.
with your ideal timing to really make use of your trait in ideal fashion. And again, similar to what level one kind of does. I feel like it encourages you to just start throwing W's out because you can, and
Mm-hmm,
it's not the damage from the W. Is really not what's gonna even with a level 13
mm-hmm.
kind of. I'm jumping ahead to pop impartials. It's just not. It does not justify kind of foregoing the other talents. It messes with the flow of Stukov that you should kind of have
Mm-hmm.
for optimally playing the hero.
Absolutely, I totally agree. I remember what I was about to say. When you have the long pitch and you end up using your abilities. Oh man, did I forget about it again? Ah, this is so embarrassing. Oh my god. Hold on. Give me 2 seconds, please. I'll remember.
By all means.
Smokes. Okay, we'll talk about it later then. But oh yes, now I remember. Okay, so if you go, the thing is with long pitch is you need other talents to synergize with it, but it's a very suboptimal kind of Stukov. Here's the thing: when you pick up level one, feated touch, you're amplifying long pitch. But then who cares about making the rest of your basic abilities better? When you're making your W better, it's not really getting you're not getting more value out of it. You can only apply one push steal to the enemy at a time. So if you slow them multiple times, like it's nice reapplying it, but it's not the most you can do, so to say. Like you know what I mean? Just reapplying the pustule is not enough. If you want more value out of the long pitch, you need to brand into other talents. And when you're branding into other talents, you got less value out of your abilities, which makes the cooldown reduction less effective, in my opinion. So it really has a hard case going against it, even though on paper it does look really good.
Exactly. I mean, you kind of nailed the nail on the head. You need your trait to really make huge impacts with your W's and your
Mm-hmm.
Q's. And the cooldown from the level one fetid touch or the long pitch cooldowns, they will not allow you to just throw out W's and immediately follow up with traits all the time, right?
Yeah.
Your trait is still going to be your limiting kind of reagent here. It is going to be the thing that you're waiting to get off of cooldown to make a huge play and make a huge difference. So yeah, you'll get a bunch of postals out there, and they'll do some kind of minimal, well, not even minimal, some okay slowing, but some really poor damage. But again, the opportunity cost is too great. You're missing out on some other really great things that
Mm-hmm.
Stukov can be doing.
I totally agree. I think we rest our case against the long pitch. Let's go into an actually good talent, growing infestation. Lurking Arms area expands by 50%, over 2.5 seconds. However, it does have the caveat in that you cannot channel the infinite duration silence. It will have a set duration of 3 seconds. However, this is not too bad of a thing because remember, Low blow is still in effect. Even if you last the full 3 seconds, you have 1 additional second after that for 4 seconds. And honestly, that's all you need. Like, there's very rarely a scenario where you really needed a 6-second duration channel. And oftentimes, Stukov, there's a talent future in the future that allows you to effectively reach it without needing to channel the whole duration. And also the area expansion is, you may be like, oh, well, I got my tank to follow up. I could just, follow up, and who cares if I have bigger area? Like, I'll hit exactly what I need to hit. But here's the thing. Without your tank, your silence is kind of useless. But growing infestation makes it viable to use, on the fly. Like, that area increase is so good. Like, it's so noticeable. It gives you a lot of value. Give me your opinion.
It's huge. It's huge. 100% agree with you. This is kind of from 1 to 7 to 13 is really Stukov gets more and more and more oppressive with his silence. 7 is big because it is a very significant increase in the area. You can choke points become even more dangerous for the enemy team. The initial silence area is not bad, but for example, when you get 7, that's where you kind of start getting more kills as Stukov. And the reason being is your tank engages, stuns a target, you put the silence under them. At level 1, that's a pretty small area. The target starts walking out and usually gets out. At level 7, the area grows and the target, if it's slowed especially, can't outpace the growth rate. So they're trying to walk out of the silence, but the silence is going faster underneath them than they can walk. So it really secures a lot of kills. And it really makes kind of team fights a lot more difficult for the enemy because they really have to play around this ever-expanding area where they can't press their buttons. This is an absolute must-take for Stukov silence build.
Very terrifying prospect you just unleashed on the populace here. I hadn't really considered that the slow from your postal being so great, or your tank for that matter, being so great that it expands faster than they can get out of, and you totally can get more value out of it. The area expanding does matter a lot on the target you're trying to kill, because they have to now escape this newfound large area. Plus, like you say, it cuts off corridors much better. Obviously, your E is really good in, say, these death. I call them the death hallways, where it's a tiny one person wide. If you get body blocked, it's over, and anything is big enough for that. But growing infestation makes it big enough to hit most hallways, and it suddenly reaches the whole area. And there are many more hallways than there are death corridors, in my opinion. So yeah, growing infestation is just really fucking good. It's crazy.
Yeah, you put that on, also for camp stealing, putting this under a boss, you can maybe somehow dance around the edges of the small silence at level 1, but once growing infestation kicks in, you just kind of have to get out of there. Yeah, and it kind of screws over some healers, such as, Lucy or Charism. They kind of have to touch their target to save.
Oh yeah, true.
Save them. So no, it's again, this is a non-negotiable talent at level 7 for a silence build Stukov.
And it's when you start to really feel the pain of the Stukov. It makes it feel really good. I like it a lot. However, I'm a pretty big hipster, and if the meta build is silent Stukov, I'm not playing the meta build. I'm playing some weird homebrew. And targeted decision is usually the option I take. Detonating exactly one weighted pistolette, but any number of healing pathogens, it doesn't matter what you're doing to your team, with Biokill Switch will reduce the cooldown of the switch down to 7 seconds, so you're shaving off 9 seconds, and it also reduces the cooldowns of your other basic abilities by a 1.5 second flat. It's not like Long Pitch's mega value, where you shave off 4 seconds on everything. Targeted Decision has a much easier requirement of doing exactly one target. That's very doable on Stukov. 2 targets is really stretching it. You would need like a godlike tank engage on multiple targets to make that happen. Target Decision lets you do it anywhere, really. You could use reactive ballistospheres. That's something you can proc it off of. Oh yeah, but reactive ballistospheres can make Long Pitch work. But it's debatable whether or not that's worth it. That's another topic. Anyways, Target Decision Much easier for you to apply yourself, much easier to apply with tank engages, because most tanks have good single target engage. Whether or not they hit multiple targets is it's another thing, but it's usually not the case. And reducing a bigger portion of your traits cooldown is more important than your other basic abilities, because suddenly your 10-second cooldown Q, your 10-second cooldown W, and your 10-second cooldown E get reduced to 8.5 seconds. And when your trait is reduced down to 9 seconds, everything is now in sync. So you can use your whole band of abilities together once again every time you use your trait, which is really good. And hence you nailed it when we were talking about the long pitch. You need to make sure that the abilities go together and that they are synchronized with your trait, and hence why target excision is usually much better than long pitch.
Yeah, you honestly kind of nailed it again on the head. Target decision is the other build. Whether you want to take this with a reactive, it really ups your healing against big poke teams. If you can consistently get one W onto the enemy team, you are activating your trait a lot more frequently. You're getting a lot more value just from healing everyone. But if you're also spreading the pathogen to 3 more people, that's a lot more activation with the 30% bonus from your level 4. This is the other brand of Stukov, and again, it's really great. It's a really good ability, and I think if you're not playing Silence, you really should be taking it.
I totally agree. Yeah, I love target decision. It feels really good pulling it off.
Yeah, I will say one thing to note here is kind of paying attention to the careful wording of the talent. So it does reduce your cooldown and considerably, but not as considerably as some people think. So note that the bio kill switch cooldown is reduced to 7 seconds, and the other abilities are reduced by 1.5 seconds. So as your Q starts kind of spreading to other people, and you hit your W, and you pop your bio kill switch, it is, I guess it's not. I guess never mind. I guess it's like 7 seconds and 7 seconds. Yeah, it's half. It's literally half. So never mind. Yeah, it's an amazing ability. I had to convince myself there. Yeah, it really is great. Yeah.
Yes, I like it a lot. But it kind of goes to show that Stukov gets a lot of value from its silence build, hence why we're going into that route, and a lot of value in terms of his trade value, because it is his most important ability. It literally makes your Q and W good, for example. And if you make your W good, you also make your E good. So, yeah, that's why target decision is good. Any last thoughts on these talents before we go to 10?
No.
Fair enough.
We covered it pretty well.
Proceeding. Level 10. We already talked about these ultimates in depth, so we shall not go any further. Is there a team composition that makes you inclined towards Massive Shove? Because usually we pick up Flailing Swipe every game, you know?
I think Cho and Hammer, honestly, probably the only two that where I'm like, I really am annoyed by this Hammer and I want to get them out of here. And or
Totally
Cho
agree.
Gall, that's getting 2 people out seems pretty worth it. But I maybe Diva. Maybe you want to make some cool plays of shoving the bomb away from your team and being like, be good. But it's honestly Flailing Swipe the 95% of the time.
Yeah, that is time for hold on, the Stukov cool emoji right there. There we go. If you want to make that kind of play, you definitely want the Massive Shove. But yeah, Flailing Swipe just is
it is flashy.
It is flashy. Like the flashing diva bomb. But the Flailing Swipe is totally what you want. It'll do the exact same output. And besides, there's a level 20 upgrade that effectively makes it like Massive Shove. With the same cooldown and all that jazz. All right, moving on. Level 13. Level 13 is really interesting. This is an exciting tier. Okay, it hungers. Increase the range of your silence by 30%. And if you damage enemy heroes 8 times with the silence, and you just tally up the times you hit by 8, whether it's a single target by 8 or 2 targets by 4, and so on and so forth. You get the gist. The cooldown reset, and the mana cost is refunded. I actually am, I don't know, for some reason I just don't pick It Hungers, but I every time I see a Silence Stukov, they pick up It Hungers, I see it in play, I'm like, damn, that's good. For some reason, I just feel like it's too strong, so I lean away from it. I don't know why I do this to myself, but yeah. Give me your experience, Mr. Protesilaus.
So for Silence Build Stukov, this is another non-negotiable. Now back in the day, allow me to walk down memory lane
Mm-hmm.
for a second. Virulent Reaction used to have, I believe, a 2-second root time. So I'll
Oh
go to another
man.
talent for a second, and it's you get a weighted posture on someone, you put a silence underneath them, you pop trade, they get rooted. Now this used to be, I believe, 2 or even 2.25 seconds of a
Mm-hmm.
root time, and they nerfed it. And back then that was the call. Like you just pick that because it's just a hero ending ability.
Yeah.
Shaving the half a second off of it makes it feel a lot worse. Like your
Yeah.
team really needs to be reacting in super fast ways to make
Mm-hmm.
use of it. And it can still be the call. There are people that are still they can still land those roots and they are incredibly potent. But the plus 30% range and the reset on the silence from it hungers are phenomenal. And just to illustrate a
Mm-hmm.
point, let me kind of bring up Zarya's grab bomb.
Uh-huh.
Let me bring up Zarya's grab bomb at level 20. Those of you at high ranks know that this is a game-winning ult. You get if you manage to get 2 to 3 enemy heroes in a 3.5 second silence, and in the same spot, they are dead. Like the team
Mm-hmm.
you won the fight, the game is over because it's late game. Death timers are slow or long. It's amazing. Now imagine this, not as good, granted, like they're not staying there, but imagine this on a basic ability. If you get Stukov reset on 2 to 3 heroes and hit 2 to 3 heroes again, which is difficult but not impossible, you basically won the team fight.
Mm-hmm.
It is 6 seconds of silence on half the enemy team. It is insane. It is insane how good
Big
this
time.
ability is. You get a blaze stun, you land the first silence, the enemy starts repositioning themselves. If it's in a hallway or somewhere where 2 or 3 of them are forced to run a certain way, the extra range plus the reset, you land another silence. It's incredible.
Mm-hmm.
This is what really makes Stuvop annoying. Like it was already annoying to have the silence. It was already annoying to play not being able to use your buttons, but not to be able to use your buttons for 5 seconds in a team fight.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I
It's
know.
this is the hands down the biggest power spike the hero has is silence built Stukov level 13.
Mm-hmm. I've felt it firsthand. Yeah, it is a work of art. I will say, It Hungers does encourage a very, how should I say this, like a positive feedback loop for Stukov. Usually, you use your silence to follow up. Great. You get rewarded with a reset. Amazing. But it also allows you to descend the silence into the middle of the enemy team in like some strange position. Plus, with the expanding area, remember that, you need it to hit targets. Suddenly you interrupt enemies mid-cast. They're not part of the engagement, but the huge range for this allows you to penetrate deep into the enemy backline, and then suddenly you disable the mage's abilities that was just about to go off, or you disjoint some combo. It's very, very annoying. And then you just have another one ready to go whenever you feel like it, whenever you see the opportunity, which is why It Hungers rocks. It makes your E better at everything, literally.
Yeah, and the mage point is perfect. As I guess as a mage player, that makes sense that you would have this acute
Yeah.
observation. Is that a 30% extra range is kind of crazy. Like it basically means that you don't have to have perfect positioning. If your tank engages a little further away, you can still follow up, even if
Mm-hmm.
you're unmounted. And yeah, you can get some of those more high priority targets. The silence can not only hit the person your tank hit, if let's say it's a bruiser or something,
Mm-hmm.
but it can also, like you said, disrupt the combos of Mings or Chromies,
Mm-hmm.
and it really turns the tide of the fight. Like the level 13 is, like at this point in time, it becomes such that if the enemy team picks the engage and kind of rocks the Stukov or rocks your team
Mm-hmm.
beforehand, that's how you lose. But if you have a really great tank that consistently gets good engages and gets two people, and that's a big if. You have to have a really talented tank, and I mentioned that Stukov is going to be only as good as your CC. But if you have that with It Hungers, it becomes a very oppressive combination. Not only is it really good, but it's psychologically just very frustrating to play against this. I've been on the
Yes.
other side of good Stukovs, and having a silence reset hit you again, it's bewildering. Yeah, it's
Big
just,
time.
it's like, oh my god, I hate this. Yeah, this is what I've been doing to people. My god. Yeah.
Yes, that meme. Oh, another thing. It also the fact that the thing is, Lurking Arm already has like a really long range. I think it's like range 12, which is vision range, by the way, which is already insane. Making big number go big with 30% makes it huge. It goes up to like 16 or something like that. This makes Stukov position much safer, by the way. Most talents in Stukov's arsenal kind of force him to sacrifice his positioning to get more value. This is one of the cases where it actually gives you more safety. And at Stukov, it encourages you. It starts encouraging you just at the right time. Level 13 is a good time where you start to play further back, and it hungers, but lets you continue doing your game plan. And you could do it over like really long walls or these weird positions. Like you're always present, like you're omnipresent in terms of a team fight.
That's a good way to put it. Yes. Yeah. Your aura grows.
Yeah. Aura, domain expansion.
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
love it. So yeah, it hungers rocks. Like it's just a huge performance booster for the ability, and because of that, the rest of Stukov's abilities work much better. Let's talk about that virulent reaction that we were talking about. What this does is if somebody is trapped within your silence and you activate your traits whilst there is a pustule, ticking down on them, it roots them for a second and a half. And obviously, a rooting, giving an ability that has no CC is a really big deal. And a roots for 1.5 seconds is very good. But on top of that, what really makes it oppressive is you stuck them in a silence. So they are stuck for 1.5 seconds. They can't move. They can't cast abilities. That is effectively a stun. So yeah, it's popping.
Not quite popping pustules, but yeah, it's popping. And this used to be, I guess, the bread and butter of all good Stukovs. I don't know whether I stopped picking it because the half a second shorter just feels so gross to me. And don't quote me on that
Yeah.
half a second. I know it's shorter. I think it's half a second. And it's still an incredible ability. It's phenomenal. Like if you are communicating with your team as you should be, you can make kind of those engages that I was talking about with Anna happen. Like you can be the one that like, hey, I landed the slow, like this guy's about to get rooted, and then your team switches targets and kills a target that's rooted and silenced.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good ability, and I can, I'm not like I can see other people wanting to play this, but against, again, really good players that watch their positioning, a lot more has to happen for this to work.
Yeah.
Like it is a lot more than just, oh, my team got a good engage, or people are trying to escape, or someone's almost like half a screen away and I'm going to put a silence in their way with the extra range from It Hungers. Here you have to hit a W on someone. You need to make sure they're not so good that they understand what's happening here. You have to have no cleanses on the other team.
Yeah.
Because
So true.
that cleanse takes a W off, your virulent is dead in the water. And you have to have your trade up. Against bad players, this might be the call. Like this might give you more value. You're like, well, I'm always rooting these people and it's always happening. But against good players, not so much. So it's hard to recommend it. It's a good ability in vacuum, but again, opportunity cost, It Hungers, I believe is the better call here.
Fair enough. I kind of disagree with your statement that it's like a good player kind of thing. Like, if you root an enemy, your team sees a rooted enemy, they're gonna collapse. Like, it doesn't matter to you unless you're, I don't know, Plastic 5, the worst of the worst. But like any average team, they really are going to take advantage of that root. I don't think it's so big of a problem. But I totally agree with your statement that it needs everything from Stukov to be ready beforehand before you can pull it off. You need the W, you need the trait, you need the silence, and also because you're forced to land the W before you land the silence, you have to cast it before then, which means the windup is the most important part about it. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong in that time frame that you don't successfully land a silence, which means you don't successfully land a virulent reaction, and then suddenly you don't have a 13. But if it does hit, my god, it's very devastating.
It's devastating, and people hopefully adapt. Like it kind of makes you a more predictable Stukov, right? Like it's like, oh, this person got away to pustule. I mean, we know what's happening now. Like
the
they're going to
comes
be.
out.
Yeah. And yeah,
Totally.
I don't mean, yeah, obviously your team will always take advantage of that. What I meant is that if the enemy team has better, higher kind of skill level players, it's a
Mhm.
lot more hard to do than just
Yeah.
taking advantage of the, because like the extra range, the reset from the silence, even against good teams, you can still get that reset.
Mhm.
Just it's just a big silence, and there's a
Absolutely.
team fight happening in a certain area, like you're gonna get that reset. Whereas against a good team, getting virulent infection, virulent root is a little bit more difficult.
Totally. One last thing. I think it's very important that we talk about there is a combo you can do with reactive ballistospheres and violent reaction,
Mhm.
where
Yeah.
uh, please tell the viewers, the audience, how you pull off the combo.
I mean, I don't think there's going to be anything better feeling in this game on a Stukov than getting a variant reaction route on a Zeratul.
Yes,
I will argue that
totally.
there's literally nothing you can do that feels better than that.
Hmm.
And
That's like,
because once again, you can hit your trait without stopping to channel your silence. You can land the silence under yourself as a Zeratul jumps in. uh, Provided they have a weighted postule, right? So okay, let me walk it back. If you get a weighted postule on a Zeratul, you know that they're going to be jumping back to you, trying to murder you. If you land the silence under yourself and pop trait, because the Zeratul can't blink anymore, they will be rooted right next to you.
hmm
It feels incredible. You can also, as you mentioned it, you can do it with a reactive, so it's a little bit easier. You don't have to get the weighted postule on them first. You just land the silence. Zeratul jumps in. They can't. They have to walk out. You immediately reactive and trait, and they are rooted. It feels really, really,
yikes,
really good.
yikes.
But yeah, but it's again quite difficult, and quite difficult against the cat balls and all those
Hmm.
pesky reaction Zeratools that have split second reaction time that I cannot keep up with
Hmm.
at my advanced stage. So,
Yeah.
but
A really good thing is Zeratul, unlike other assassins, the ones that go Seeker in the Dark, the one where he teleports to whatever he presses W with, they usually have a very predictable target in that if they stick a target, they usually teleport after a small delay. They don't usually go in right away. And most Zeratuls are remiss to let it go to waste. They're never going to press W and just let it go. They will teleport. So what you can do is you can do like a I call this touching grass, where you play Malfurion and the Zeratul's coming after you. You just press E on yourself, you just touch grass. And it lasts long enough that both the Seeker in the Dark will expire and his Vorpal Blade will also expire, because those have 3-second timers before they get lost. And then suddenly the Zeratul can't penetrate back into the backline suddenly out of nowhere. You can do the same thing with Stukov, where instead of you touching grass, you're touching creep, like some disgusting creep. And then if you're close enough to them, you can have your teammate stand in the puddle, and then as soon as you see the Zeratul, you press reactive ballistospheres. I think you can use it when you have the E up. It's been a while since I played Stukov. I think you can do it. And as soon as you see the Zeratul pop up, press 1, press D. Boom, rooted. Because you applied the weighted postule not through your W, you applied it through the reactive ballistosphere, and your trait has been refreshed, so you'll always have it ready to go. You press it, boom. You do the whole thing whilst you're channeling your silence. And if you do a close range to whether it is yourself that's getting engaged upon, which is the most common scenario, or your teammates, and you call on comms, hey, come to me, hug me, you could save your lives with this.
yeah, that's a really good tip. That's those are those advanced grandmaster tips from people that don't even play Stukov all that much, but are just good at the game.
Oh no,
So yeah, Ivan called it out.
I've,
Frank
I,
called it out perfectly. And yeah, it's honestly just reactive ballista spores against highly mobile targets like Zeratul and Tracer are your
mhm,
best friend. The root is incredible. If you can get it, more power to you. I have a hard time doing it. It's an awesome option, and especially if you can read people better and have faster reaction time. But reactive is just your friend against people like if you know you're fighting a really great Zeratul, really great Tracer, really great Illidan.
mhm. What if I told you I'd never pulled off this combo with Stukov?
I don't believe you. I don't believe you. This is
No, the reason
the same man.
this is the
Same
reason.
man that made number one Morales seem like a joke. It was a passionate,
Yeah,
quick
okay.
caveat, passionate project of mine, trying to get to the number one spot on Morales. Was working on it for so long, and then one day I opened the hero's profile, and there's Fred just at the very top. He just decided to dabble in Morales this season.
Yeah.
Yeah, an exceptional player, honestly, and a very humble one. So,
Thank you. This is it completely came out of left field. But to get back to what I was saying, I never pull out the combo because you explained the whole thought process perfectly, and I'm like, wait a minute. I've just drawn a parallel to Malfurion routes because I actually really like Malfurion into Zeratul. I think Malfurion actually has a very favorable matchup, especially with Twilight Dream and the root and the grass, the sleep, all that jazz. But really, it's the fact that Zeratul has a very predictable landing zone, and you can take advantage of it by manipulating your own movement to stand on the grass. Stukov can kind of do something similar, and then I suddenly made the connection when you described the combo. I'm like, oh yeah, I should totally bring this up. So yeah, violent reaction, baby. It's really strong, but although you don't see it on the talent, it in effect makes your combo sequence slower. It hungers can be released first and foremost at no cost because there is no cooldown. If you successfully drop the silence, there is no cooldown. So there is literally no cost to letting it rip. Whereas with violent reaction, you need to do a very predictable and slow moving combo, which against higher ELO players, I suppose, like you say, it's difficult because one, they could get cleansed and then the whole plan goes down the drain, or two, usually the time it takes to land the combo, something wrong is going to happen because the enemy team is going to start reacting to the engagement, their pressing ability, so to say.
yeah, exactly. Honestly, both of the non-It Hungers level 13s really get very much derailed by healers with short cleanses. And ironically, the two healers that I really enjoyed playing for masochistic reasons are Anna and Tyrande.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't really think of them as tough counters, but Anna with her 2-second cooldown cleanse on slows just completely takes the weight of posture off of whatever target you're doing it. And Tyrande, if she opts to go the non-selfish way of cleansing with a short cooldown on Q,
Big time.
whenever you cleanse that W, and it's very predictable, right? You can't make that play immediate. You kind of like put the W on them; they know it's coming, and a good healer will cleanse that off of the person. Basically, just rob you of your level 13.
Big time. Wow. This also makes me think of Lucio, and my God, Lucio is so annoying.
Exactly. Well, Lucio, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Over the Overwatch heroes, they need to be put down one way or another. Okay, so that's enough violent reaction. It's a very hype talent. If you see the opportunity where rooting is very important into hyper mobile targets, this could be the key your team needs in order to properly play the game. Because if there's no CC on your team, you're in a lot of trouble. Stukov, first off, this might be your one chance to make it happen. Otherwise, It Hungers is, if your team already has CC, then you can expand your reach and expand your presence within the team fight. Let's talk about pop and pustules, though. Detonating a weighted pustule with your trait within a second and a half of it expiring, basically the latter half before it expires, will increase the damage by 150%, so that's 2.5 times, and it applies the damage and slowing of a pustule to everything around it. So essentially, you turn them into a living bomb from Kael'thas, and then suddenly you don't apply damage. Well, you do apply a lot of damage. You also apply a lot of slowing. And yeah, all the enemy heroes hit will have a brand new weighted pustule applied to them. I love popping pustules. Like, I don't know what is up with me, but it feels very satisfying, like popping a pimple or something like that.
Yeah, it's a really great talent, and it's kind of dangerous, right? Like just like with KT, it really forces the other team to scramble away from each other and sacrifice their positioning. This does the same thing. When it's especially savage here with to note with reactive ballista spores, right? Because it's not a crazy amount of damage, but it hurts, and the slow is pretty substantial. And so what happens at level 13 if Stukov went reactive ballista spores is they will get away to postural and one, maybe even two people. So that's bad. And the team is kind of grouped together, they will wait. So this is the problem. You have to wait for it to kind of the weighted partial to go past halfway. It's timer, right? And this is where the if you have healers with short cleanses like Anna, that really kind of screws up your plan. But if you're able to wait, you hit your trait. It super slows the person, spreads weighted partials to everybody else, and you hit reactive ballista spores wherever you are. You could walk up to them if it's safe enough, if their cooldowns are down, or you can even be far away. But you hit reactive ballista spores, you wait a second or so for, again, that timer to get halfway through, and then you pop it again. And honestly, that means the entire enemy team is just super mega slowed for a very, very long time. So all your chromies, all your mings, the ones that are just pelting them with skill shots are just having a field day during this time.
Big time. And plus, let's not forget about the synergy there is between either long pitch or targeted decision from level 7. Both of those work super well poppin' pustules because you have more opportunities to use your trait, which means you get more poppin' pustules value.
Exactly.
Confirm this for me. I'm pretty sure it works, but I could be mistaken. I think it doesn't. Does the explosion, the 150% bonus damage, the explosion, does that stack when multiple targets are like right next to each other and they all explode at the same time? Do they all just suffer this, I don't know, feedback loop of a big explosion?
I believe it actually does. So if you have the enemies super clumped together and you do the reactive ballista spores and you do a secondary explosion, I think that explosion just wrecks Vikings and it actually it really is kind of a level 13 kind of slowing living bomb. Granted, a lot of things have to happen for it, but it feels pretty good when you pull it off.
Big time. Yeah, I guess that's it. 13. When would we pick each talent? How would you rank these by choice pick?
Again, if you're allowed to go silence build, and that's what I want to go all the time, it hungers is your call. If you went reactive ballista spores, I would go with pop and pustules.
Got you.
Honestly, the only time you may not want to go pop and pustules, even though you went reactive ballista, really no reason never to probably never do that. But again, I can't stress enough how frustrating it is to play against an Anna or Karazim. Just these healers that have cleanses on very short cooldowns, because you have to wait. Like to actually use your level 13, you have to wait for that weighted pustule timer to get past halfway for it to actually activate. So you're forced to wait, and good healers will be like, "Oh no, we're cleansing that. That's you're not doing that tonight."
Yeah. Big time. I like the analysis here. I pick up pop and pustules more often than I should. I need to get in the habit of it hungers, but man, I'm too addicted to the pustules, man. What can I do?
It feels good. It feels really, really, really good. Yeah.
I gotta give props to Blizzard. They make Stukov's stuff feel very impactful, and gotta give them credit for that. Alrighty, with that, I think we're done with 13. Let's move on to 16. 16 has a kind of a disappointing tier for Stukov. Most tiers become monsters at this tier, but not really Stukov. But Super Strain is pretty interesting. Whenever an ally with a healing pathogen is stunned or rooted, they are instantly healed for 300 health. I think Super Strain is pretty obvious case scenario. Say you're looking at a Diablo, a Muradin, a ETC. I think Malfurion Roots plus Sleep actually counts double for the same ability, which is monstrous. If you see these heroes on the enemy team, Super Strain is going to get a lot of value. And that's when you probably want to pick it up. Aside from that, yeah, it's a use case. Mr. Protesilaus, thoughts?
I mean, you're absolutely correct. Multiple stuns, multiple roots. It's a no-brainer. You go with this talent every single time. It can make some insane saves when people don't expect it. When you have like a Muradin jumping in, stunning, and then a Jaina root following up, don't imagine this is a cure-all. Like if the entire enemy team collapses on someone and they layer their CC, this isn't gonna just undo everything they've done. but you would be surprised with the insane saves that this allows you to carry out. Especially again, if you're thinking of like a Muradin Uther, like when things are following up with stuns, there's damage layered in between. Note that the damage does have to occur in between. If somebody's stunned and then stunned again, and then the damage is all happening, you're not really going to get a lot of value from that because the heals happen instantaneously as soon as another stun happens. But Muradin jumps in, stuns, then Jaina lands some blizzard on you, then Uther comes in, stuns, or Jaina roots, and those heals really stack up. Like it's it's a have to talent. You're right. Level 16 on Stukov doesn't feel as amazing, but this talent is a have to pick if the team has more than, I would say, even more than one root or stun. Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I guess we're moving on. Also, another thing to keep in mind. Make sure you don't rush to use your traits right away when Super Strain is on an ally, because remember, it purges the heal, and then suddenly there is no healing pathogen for Super Strain to activate from future stuns or roots. So if anything, you actually want to say somebody's getting like hard engaged. This might be the rare case where Stukov wants to toss it out onto the ally that's getting engaged rather than starting it on himself. And then you want to let it run a little bit, catch it, and then take out the vigorous reuptake from that point on.
Absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. Yes.
Very nice. Yeah, go to talent. I'm not gonna lie. I love Super Strain, and like on theory, it's good. Sometimes I don't see it do anything, but in my heart, I know it's doing something.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I think almost any team you're playing against is going to have CC. Very few teams run absolutely nothing, and almost all of them run at least a couple of forms of CC. And make sure these are stuns and roots that you're going up against. Like Variant's taunt is still its own little beast.
Yeah,
so
it's
don't expect
classified as
any
a
value
silence, so it doesn't count.
Yep. Yep.
Alrighty, I guess we're moving on to Universal Carrier. Healing Pathogen can continually spread through Stukov, but healing is reduced by 25%. Random Tangents. I love talents that dramatically transform like how an ability works, and here's the story. Because it's stuff like this that makes it so unique, because it's very experimental, it's crazy, it's off the bonkers. Like it's totally HotS in its soul, and I love it because in Dota 2 they mimicked our town system, but then it's stuff like your ability gets an extra charge. Yeah, who cares? Like we have Stukov over here, where now you have a permanent Q. How's that? Like it's so cool. Sometimes it does nothing, and then it's so unorthodox, nobody wants to deal with it, but I love it, just for the way it is. And Universal Carrier, I think it's trash.
Unfortunately, I have to agree with you here. Yep. Even after the buff, it's still a trash talent, guys.
It was buffed? What was it before?
Yeah, I think it was 50% before.
Yikes!
It reduced it considerably. It's unfortunately, it's just not a good talent. The heal over time for Stukov it's there, but it's not humongous. And the fact that you kind of have to keep on positioning yourself in such a way that you need to be grabbing the pathogen from someone and then getting it to somebody else. It's not great. It's not good compared to the other talents of this tier.
I agree. If you do pick up Universal Carrier, how do you even use it? Because I kind of keep forgetting that it continuously heals through Stukov. I guess it's kind of obvious how you do it, but yeah,
I can tell you, I don't pick this talent. I picked this talent, I think maybe 1-2 games just to prove to myself that it's not worth it.
Yeah.
So whoever picks it can tell me why this talent is good.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just completely lost here. Yeah.
We're both lost here. If a brave soul in the comment section can provide a use case for this, we will hear it. We will hear it.
He just yours, yeah.
Yeah. Not much more to say. I guess you picked this up against Lunara. And maybe only then, but I feel Stukov is like Lunar's hardest counter, so...
Yeah, I think even there, Populi is probably going to give you more value
Yeah,
than
totally.
universal. But yeah.
Moving away from carrier, let's talk about Pox Populi. Biokill switch no longer removes healing pathogen, but instead sets its duration 3 seconds. So this gives you two things with healing pathogen. One, ideally Stukov wants to let it run as long as it can, because when it's healing, it's healing. You need it to run its full duration. But when you activate your trait, suddenly it gets expunged and it heals. You are not given change. You will not be given the healing you're owed because you popped your trait early. So this is the punishment you get as Stukov. But Pox Populi will mean that, hey, did you activate your trait instantly because you needed the burst heal? Not a problem, bro. Let me give you another 3 seconds of healing. Which, yeah, like on the whole team, that's just... This is literally read, hey, your Q heals 66% more because the duration is 4.5 seconds. So yeah, that's Pox Populi for you. And every time you press trait, you get this value. So anything that reduces the cooldown of it or applies it through, I guess, reactive ballistic fears is a bad example because you're using it offensively. But still, the point remains, if you have anything that reduces the cooldown of your trait, this gets more value. Thoughts?
Well, this is where you do, I guess, the math of how many stuns versus how much poke damage. And it's
Yes.
pretty easy, right? Like, just kind of figure it out. Be like, hey, does the enemy team have a lot of stuns? Super strain. Do they not have almost any stuns? Pox populated is
Yeah.
like, that's just, it's as simple as that.
It's simple as that.
However, I will say that this power spike, 16 is a power spike for the lovers of reactive ballista spores on Stukov. This is
Ooh.
where you can do some really gross things. And what it doesn't seem like it's a lot. It's just like, hey, this just leaves the your queues onto your back on your people. Like, it just gives you a reset on the queue. But with the reactive ballista spores, that gives you another trait. You can literally double heal with this talent. So let's say someone's getting ganked, you send a Q their way. You hit trait. You have Pox Populi selected, so the Q is back on them. You activate reactive ballista spores. You hit trait again. So not only you can give an absurd amount of burst healing with this, like a very, very, very large amount, but also if you are against a very AA heavy team and you have that physical armor at level 4, you can get 5 seconds of 50 armor.
Big time.
Both really, really, really kind of team fight changing options. So again, if you're not playing Silence Build Stukov and you have reactive in your pocket, just make sure you know how to use it. Like, it takes a little bit of practice. It's not easy. Like, make sure you do the Q, you do the trait, you wait as long as you possibly can. You do the reactive and you do the trait again. But this makes it kind of gross.
Totally agreed. Man, I actually got an idea. This will totally defeat the purpose of Super Strain, but there needs to be... I know Stukov, one of Stukov's intentional weaknesses is he has no cleanse. He is the only healer that has 0 cleansing of any sorts. Even Morales has a slow cleanse, which goes to show how left behind Stukov is in that regard, but it's an intentional weakness. However, would you think there's we can slide in a talent that gives his healing pathogen, hey, if you activate your trait, you cleanse your targets. Maybe it's a one-time cleanse against specific CC, for example, to make it bounce, but do you think that might work really well in place of Universal Carrier?
Yeah, I mean, how do you eliminate a useless talent? I honestly think, I mean, this is probably why Stukov is actually not a very high kind of win rate healer. In just the global sense of things, is the lack of cleanse is kind of big. I think that's maybe, again, you can't give him everything, right? The silence is such an oppressive ability. It's so gross that they had to somehow take away from him as well.
Yes.
So I don't know. I think maybe it would be unfair for Stukov to have a cleanse. Not everyone can be a
I think
Brightwing
so.
where you literally have everything in your kit. Don't get me started on that hero.
Yep.
But mobility check, cleanse check, global presence check. Disruption
Armor
of
shred.
yeah. My God. But not everyone can be a Brightwing. But yeah, no, it's. I think Super Strain is like the closest you're going to get to a cleanse, right? It's not really a cleanse, but at least it's like, hey, you get some bonus from CC being just thrown your friend's way.
Totally. Yeah. Great. By the way, I went on my tangent without thanking you. Thanks for giving that example for the reactive ballistospheres for the pox populi and really stretching the value out. Really makes it look very overpowered, and now I want to try it out.
Yeah, you should try it out. It's quite fun.
Is there anything more on 16 before we move on to 20s?
No, I think we covered it.
Awesome. Alrighty. Controlled Chaos. Flailing Swipe gains 2 additional charges, but each uses only swings one time. And it does it at its maximum range. Furthermore, the cooldown gets reduced to 25 seconds to accommodate the fact that there's a charge-based system, and the mana cost is reduced, whatever. What this means is Stukov is sometimes when you use your ultimate, the Flailing Swipe, you don't want to use all of them, right? For good measure, it helps a lot in a hard engage, but sometimes just one swipe is good enough. This gives you that opportunity to do that swipe. You do it once, it's at max strength. It's the last one. And it usually shoves everything out of the way, which is amazing. Like, you get a on-tap, control the enemy team button. They're not allowed to approach the Stukov, which is really good. Flailing Swipe is already a decent ultimate. It's not the best, but it's decent. But Controlled Chaos, I think, makes it very good, actually. And yeah, that's what I gotta say. Prefacing it.
Yeah, it's probably the go-to at level 20 for most people to take Flailing Swipe. It gives you more of what Flailing Swipe already does. It's great for certain heroes like Sam or Zeratul, where you see the glimmer creeping your way. It's kind of nice to just kind of like decloak them, get them out of your face.
Yeah.
It's I honestly I don't believe Stukov's ultimates are all that impactful. Again, I think his base kit, not his base kit, his E is just super strong, so it makes up for it. It's there and it's nice, and probably more often than not, if I'm picking Flailing Swipe, I'll pick this. But there's a caveat to that, and I guess we'll get to that when we get to the other talents.
Fair enough. It's funny. Stukov does not have a heroic ability. He has reactive ballistospheres, and really, that's what you're riding off of.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. That's a good way to put it.
That's funny. Oh, there's another trick. The pro players are a big fan of it. They'll pick Flailing Swipe, and then they hit level 20, and they do not level Controlled Chaos until after they use the ultimate. Yes. On pickup, you're given those 2 charges. So in effect, you actually have the 3 swipes plus the 2 on pickup, which means Stukov gets a very strong level 20 power spike, and usually he can use that to go win an objective or go core, and he has this one-time very oppressive amount of control. Nifty little
exactly
optimization.
Right.
Yeah.
Very nice little trick.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about Control Chaos. It just, you have much more control over how much you're shoving, and it makes it more useful. I like it a lot. Alrighty. Let's move on to Massive Shove's upgrade. Push comes to shove. Your shove will now slow the target by 50% when they collide with the terrain for 4 seconds. A 50% slow for 4 seconds is very debilitating. To put it in perspective, like Alex Strauss's Pacify or Anna's Debilitating Dart, those do the same numbers, and you can really feel how bad those are when they get hit on you. And you get this on your ultimate, which... after you shove them a long distance, or you even shove them point blank, honestly, the slow matters a lot. Plus, there's another thing. If Massive Shove continues to push a target for more than 1.25 seconds, the cooldown is reduced down to 5 seconds. So, if it's a moderate, I don't know the exact distance, but it's moderate to long distance. Long distance shove will basically reset its cooldown. So, if you are fighting the Arthas, like I was in Hanamura Temple, and you would have picked up Push Comes to Shove, you would have it continuously. You would never get jumped on by a slow-moving target. And if they do go on you, you got a extra slow to go on top of that, which makes them even more sad.
Yeah, this is a really great upgrade for the ultimate. It kind of changes how you use it, in my opinion. Like short range shoves become much better due to that 50% slow. if you can get someone to collide with terrain very close to your team, like you said, that debilitating dart, that 50% slow for 4 seconds, that's a death sentence. Very, very frequently, minus a cleanse or a really, really good reaction by the enemy team. So it makes an ultimate that I don't really really recommend picking much, much better. I will say, and not to mention when you do get that cooldown and you can keep shoving a Cho or a hammer way, 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 way away. And again, the way I'm describing it now makes it seem like, why don't we pick this ultimate? But I really, mean, like just messing with it is just.
We come back to the core problem that Shove has hitbox issues. And usually the failings of those hitbox issues is why push comes to shove doesn't activate to begin with.
Exactly. Not to mention that, if the enemy team is diving you as a healer, it's nice to have an option to get them off of you. And when I say enemy team, I mean more than one person.
Yeah.
Whereas this is still kind of, well, I got one person off of me while 2 others just decided to ruin my day.
Yep. Exactly right. It is a funny town, though. I will say that much. If again, with fun. The memes,
it is fun. Feels good, flashy, fun, but I don't think it's the correct one.
Correct. Yep. Well, that is push comes to shove. I got no more to talk about it. I think it's time for top off. Healing pathogens heal over time is increased by 30% while its target is above 60% health. Simple stat booster. Hey, you're topping off your team. That's it. I don't know what there is to say about it.
I mean, yeah, that's basically it. I guess we can mention the interaction that it has with reactive or Pux Populi. The fact that this does increase. It does increase the healing from, your heal over time is applied twice with reactive. With reactive and Pux Populi combination. So it's nice. It definitely, it increases the numbers, and it's not completely insignificant. But I think this is another one of those where the opportunity cost is not justified. Not picking one of the other 2 talents. I think Controlled Chaos is an excellent choice, and the last talent, Bio Explosion Switch, is also a great choice. But I'll let you kind of go into that first.
Fair
Describe
enough.
what it does.
One last thing about top off. Opinion. Do you think this would be better if it was reversed? Say, if a target is below 60% health, they get the boost in healing. Do you think that would make it better?
Hard to say. I guess like the 30% is not anything insane on,
especially for
a level 1 heal. Yeah, it's like you're getting a level 1 that's another 40-50 heal over 4.5 seconds. It's just not that. It's just not impactful. It's a pretty lowly heal over time. This isn't, like Malfurion's, what is it, level 16 or 13 that just dramatically increases your heal over time, and just this is not that much. It's quite small.
I totally
don't
agree.
think it's maybe a very, very poke heavy team. Maybe. Yeah. Maybe.
I will tell you, I remember this one time. I don't know which hero I was playing. I don't think it was Lunara, because, it's kind of obvious, but I was fighting a Stukov plus Varian, and they had top off and the healing banner at 20. And my god, we dealt no damage to them. I don't know what it was,
healing banner alone, I think.
Yeah,
every healer ever loves that talent so damn much, because all of a sudden you're like, oh my god, I'm doubling the other enemy's heals. Like, how did that happen? Yeah, healing banner.
Yeah, I
you
think
love
it
to
was.
see it.
I'm pretty sure it was just healing banner doing its thing, but that was the only time in my life that I was like, wow, top off was doing work, and I never thought about it again.
I can see that. Yeah, God, we healer mains love that talent.
Totally. Yeah, that's all I have to say about top off. Let's go to Bio Explosion Switch. What's better than a Bio Kill Switch? A Bio Explosion Switch. So Bio Kill Switch now also detonates your E, which is the silence, dealing a good amount of damage, 230 damage, and applies a W for free, and it silences the enemy heroes inside for 2.5 seconds. There is a big caveat. When you do use your trade, the silence puddle disappears instantly, which means if you were hoping to keep it on the ground a little bit longer for some more damage, doesn't happen. But the fact that you apply all what you had to do, like what you wanted to do, the damage, the silence, the slowing as well, and you can basically get up and move and do whatever it is you want. You do the job of your E without tethering yourself to it, which is very noticeable. It comes with that downside, but it is a big upside in some ways. However, I kind of suffer from decision paralysis when it comes to this. Sometimes I feel like I lose the game accidentally by picking up Bio Explosion Switch because it changes how I play and I'm not yet accustomed to it. How would you do it, Protesilaus?
Uh, Friend, you are literally taking the words out of my mouth. As a Stukov addict, I assure you, you're not the only one. So my explosive switch it's a great ability with some very 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 big caveats. As you mentioned, first of all, the puddle disappears. So that there's some anti-synergy here with your It Hungers at level 13, where you're trying to get resets. You're trying to keep that puddle on the ground longer for zone control, where the enemy is basically forced with the decision: do I give him the reset, or do I, or do I get the heck out of this area? So there's that. One huge caveat, and one that I still forget sometimes, is that it completely destroys your virulent reaction talent. It basically just like you can no longer do it, because what happens is you try to land a posture on someone, you put the E under them, and you're trying to root them, but as soon as you root them, they get unrooted because the E is no longer there, and you just put the silence on them. So that if you're taking virulent reaction at 13, absolutely do not take Bio Explosion Switch, because that's a dead talent. I guess what I would say, I do like this talent, though, still in the silence build, and I really like it against highly mobile teams. What this allows you to do is get a long-range silence on someone like a Genji, a Ming, or a Tracer, and pop that trait. And, this is given the caveat that you have your team kind of collapsing on them or trying to catch them. It gives them 2.5 seconds of that highly mobile target being silenced and slowed. That's really when you want to take it. I would say that, the level 20s that you mentioned, the Control Chaos is the kind of usual pick when you want some extra disengage. The peels are really great. Self peels for Stukov are huge thing. But the Bio Explosion Switch can be really awesome with highly mobile heroes. They just don't expect it. Not a lot of people take this talent. That's another kind of beauty of off meta talents, is people don't really see it coming. And you get it onto a Zeratul or Genji, it's not a death sentence because your team needs to be in good position to actually kill them, and chances are these types of heroes are already far away. But it does secure kills that would usually just be like, oh, this highly mobile hero is obviously getting away.
I love the analysis. I never really thought about using it as just hey, here's a silence toggle on a target that would have gone away, because 2.5 seconds is very debilitating. Silences, in my opinion, obviously it's not the best CC in the game, but in my opinion, it might be the best CC in the game, because they're
it's huge,
almost
it's huge,
they're almost always long durations. Like, you never have a silence that's like super short. It's just something long. And when you can't cast abilities, tanks only have big health bars. But you know what else has big health bars? Bosses, objectives, those die fast, and tanks with no abilities die fast as well, hence the power of a silence. And crippling, the damage potential of a mage, they literally can't do anything. You can't use armor, you can't use stasis when you're silenced, unless you get applied to it by your teammates, which is a very rare effect. And not being able to use your mobility on a hyper mobile assassin, like, it's really oppressive. And yeah, just being able to do a very, very quick 2.5 second silence, no strings attached. Well, with some strings attached, but
with some strings attached,
yeah,
but with minimum strings attached, I think this can kind of, if the enemy team's not suspecting this is kind of wreck them as well, because like usually they're like, oh, here's a giant purple puddle, like, I am silenced, this is bad, time to run away. But if all of a sudden they land that and they're like, okay, I'm slowed, and then you're like, wait, why are my abilities not working? It's like, there's still kind of the psychological aspect of like,
big time. You know what will be really, really nasty? Reactive ballistospheres, and you combo it with It Hungers. So my line of thought is here: you use your puddle, and then you just wait until you hear the "It Hungers" pop. There's a sound effect cue, by the way. We forgot to mention it. If you would get the reset, you would hear like this sound effect, and that means you just got "It Hungers" reset. Which means if you deactivate it, you're gonna have it again, ready to go. So I'm thinking we wait for that cue to go off, and then you activate the bioexplosion switch. And then you choose to use reactive ballistospheres to reactivate your trade. And then, hey, you got another E ready to go. They're now slowed by the newfound weighted pustule.
Yeah.
You could activate your trade again, and suddenly those explode. And then you drop your E. And then that's another round of silencing. My God.
It's a gross cycle. You do have to give up, though. Giving up that level 1 does hurt. And you kind of notice it. I tried to play around with kind of mixing and matching the talents. I don't know. I'm not the best Stukov, and maybe I'm just not good enough to really use those kind of abilities. But I feel like I find myself really regretting not picking all silence talents when I'm going to silence build. It like any one of those 1, 7, or 13. When you don't pick them, you really feel it. You're like, damn, I really wish I had the larger area, or damn, I wish I had that extra second and the damage. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's too much of a pipe dream. Yeah, it goes to show how powerful reactive ballistospheres that we mention in every talent tier here, because the synergies with Stukov is really off the charts. And again, it's so hard to use. It's so hard to use, and going Hail Mary with this very low probability pipe dream may not be as good as just making the rest of your kit more cohesive and functional.
Exactly. I mean, reactive really should be thought of at level 1. You can use it as a mini ult to engage, but it really is just another amazing get out of jail free card for Stukov. Doesn't always work. Azera could still maybe stick to you, but it is an oppressive amount of slowing and an extra trade charge for burst heal. When you are getting dove and your life is hell, I would argue when you're starting to play Stukov, maybe the reactive build is the better one to go, just to kind of get an understanding of how the hero works. But once you have a tank and an assassin you can depend on, that's really what he wants to play. It's kind of like, yeah, you can heal with Tyrande, but you're not picking Tyrande for her healing output.
Yeah, or, it's the other utility.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. Like you kind of have to know, if you're a hammer, try to find some nails. Like don't.
True.
So it's silence is really that's what makes this hero tick. That's what makes this hero oppressive. And when you play against good Stukovs, like note the things that annoy you the most. Like when you're playing against a good Jaina, present company included, like you begin to respect. You're like, oh man, that root spells death for me. You don't understand it. You're like, oh, now I understand that talent is kind of important. That's how that man wrecks me all the time. So I think you'll find that if you find a good crew to play with, a tank you can count on, some assassins, and you kind of get better at landing those silences, I think you'll find a lot more enjoyment in playing this hero.
Totally, I love it.
And with that, don't play against me, please. It's very annoying.
I will say though, actually, now that we're on that topic, I don't know if I want to stretch the video a little bit more, but that is all the talents. Let's go back to the screen here. Let's go on Stukov here. Give us a talent build that we know the silence build. Detail us what it looks like.
Okay. So level 1 is low blow for damage, the extra second, and the channeling. Level 4, you want the virulent reuptake for the extra, or vigorous reuptake for the extra heals. That doesn't really factor into the silence build, but that's just the talent you should take.
Best in tier.
Level 7 is growing infestation. Level 10 is flailing swipe. I think flailing swipe fits in here even more because you are self-fruiting with the silence. So if the enemy's smart, they're like, okay, we got to start collapsing on the Stukov, and that flailing swipe gives you some room to escape after you've put your silences down.
Absolutely.
At level 13, it hungers for the resets and the extra range. Really, really important. Lets you get off another silence on 2 to 3 people in a late game fight is the difference between a win and a loss.
Absolutely.
At level 16, depending on how much CC the enemy team has, and by CC I mean only stuns or roots, take Super Strain if it's even 2, or if you have a really good stunner like, I don't know, let's say Diablo, Super Strain is the way to go. And pop Spoculi if they don't, for extra heals. And level 20, I would say it's really up to you, up to preference. I really enjoy Bio-Explosion Switch just to kind of get that extra silence in when for extra mobile targets or when you're trying to self-peel. But the controlled chaos is obviously an amazing upgrade to the ult as well.
Absolutely. That is the silence build. I assume this is more like a standard comp, run-of-the-mill. You have good setup, and the teams are relatively balanced in terms of like your expected roles. Like you got the offlaner, you got a ranged DPS, you got a tank in the front, all that jazz from the enemy team.
Yeah, I would say go silence build if you feel confident that you're not going to get killed and your life's not going to be hell. This is what you want to play as Stukov, and if the enemy team lets you play that, you should play that. It's sad that you do have to make that decision at level 1. Like you can't kind of like, oh, let me see how this goes, and then switch to silence later. Like if you are committing to silence, you're committing to silence from level 1. But if you see, G-Man on Illidan, or some Zera players that we all know and hate, pairing with Abathurs, just making your healer life hell and making you regret all your choices of being a healer main, reactive ballista spores is the build you should pursue.
Got you. And, build 2. Would you make build 2 reactive ballista spores or something else?
Yeah, let's call it reactive ballista spores, but honestly, it's basically just your trade build. You're basically just taking all your trade talents. So at 1, you take reactive ballista spores that can be used offensively even at level 1, but defensively throughout the game, and kind of huge team boosting effects. At level 4, I would say I still take vigorous reuptake, but biotic. There is a case for biotic armor here, because if you are popping trade twice, having 5 seconds of 50 physical armor is no joke. So
absolutely,
you can kind of assess the situation. 7, I still would take targeted excision. 10 flailing swipe. I'm sorry, it's just I think that's the better ult. At 13, you can take really either pop and postules or virulent reaction. Pop and postules really synergizes super well with the reactive ballista spores, because if you you spread all those postules to people, and you don't even have to be there. You can just reactivate your trait and do a lot of damage and a lot of slow, provided the enemy team's grouped. At 16, Pox Populi does become quite a bit better now that you can activate trait twice, because that does allow you to retain that heal on your allies to get a second massive heal or a second application of biotic armor. So pretty awesome, but super strength is still good. And finally, level 20, really biotic kill switch probably, or biotic explosion switch is probably your better friend, just because you can get those weighted postules on people with an application of your trait, trigger reactive, and re-trigger it. So yeah.
Totally. I love it. Whew. And with that, I think that kind of covers Stukov in its entirety. Mr. Protesilaus, I really appreciate you being here, talking with me.
Oh, thank you for your time. I appreciate you reaching out.
Absolutely. Been a great co-host, and I will never have as much insight into Stukov. This is why I get a hold of a guy that has been playing him for 10 years. Because they'll find things, in all their time playing. The experience is going to give them some strange, like, niche situation that happened, and that adds to the total experience we have here.
Yeah, well, thank you for your time. Really appreciate it, friend.
Absolutely. With that, ladies and gentlemen, I really appreciate you guys tuning in for this very lengthy video, but I hope it was very informative. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I will ask Protesilaus here, and he will respond on your behalf. Or maybe he comes down and responds himself. He's a swell guy. I love having him around. He's very approachable. Yeah, that's all I got.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Thank you. Enjoy. Bye-bye.